What's up, everyone? Welcome in to free agency day one. The streets are buzzing. Let's rock along or follow along live as we react to all the moves. It's been very, very eventful already. Shout out to the chat. How we feeling? What are we expecting? It's going to be chaos. It's going to be crazy as it's 5:38 on the East Coast. We're waiting for the 6 p.m. penny to drop. But yeah, right now there's a lot happening. It seems like DiVincenzo, one of the Knicks' top targets, has a couple of meetings. So we may not hear anything initially, maybe later on, maybe late into the night. Let's follow along. DiVincenzo plans to meet with 4 teams. Of course, the Knicks have the mid-level, the full mid-level exception, which I don't expect him to really get anything more than that. But we heard today, Bruce Brown Jr. also plans to meet with the New York Knicks. How are we feeling about that, ladies and gentlemen? Do the Knicks have a decision to make if DiVincenzo and Bruce Brown is interested and likes what the Knicks are selling? Why wouldn't you like what the Knicks are selling? Obviously there's been a lot of talk about roles. How are we going to fit these guys in if they do come in? Where are their minutes going to come from? Well, another story, Obi Toppin, dialogue seems to be going on with Indiana, and there might be a potential trade in the works for a draft compensation. The New York Knicks do need to shed some salary and, ideally shed some roster minutes for some of these new guys to come in. So that does make a bit of sense. Sharp Powers, salute. How are you feeling? What are you expecting? Obviously, the James Harden is the major news. We'll see what happens with him. Kyrie Irving going to be taking meetings also. Dirty salute. Dante watch. Yeah, we've been talking about it for a long time now, it seems. But DiVincenzo does feel like he's going to be a Knick. Bruce Brown, we don't really know how big their interest is, but it should be high. But Brown is obviously highly sought after his finals playoffs appearance and performance. It's going to be very interesting. There's even talk now Indiana might go deep into the bag to really put some money down for Bruce Brown. That's going to be insane, right? In the somewhere around the 20 million range. That's speculation, but let's see. Chris Duarte, one of my guys from Indiana, got traded already. So Darren, salute. Yeah, it's not going to be likely for anything with Chris Duarte. But yeah, with that said, we react. Jake Fisher's reporting now. Phoenix has pulled the qualifying offer for a fellow Australian, centre Jock Landale, out in Arizona. So he's going to be pretty sought after. I feel, a centre who can stretch it, improved his stock in the playoffs as well. We had a trade earlier, Joe Harris being sent together with the Pistons 27 second round pick and a 29 second round pick as well. So that's a trade. Tyrese Maxey. The Sixers are doing exactly what the Knicks have done with Quickly, not rushing it and not passing on putting an extension forth just yet. What's good, JJ? I definitely prefer Bruce Brown in terms of just like I feel like talent, what this team needs. But I feel like obviously, chemistry, camaraderie, all those connections with the Villanova gang, with Jalen, with Josh Hart. Now, also, yeah, we can't forget we had Josh Hart opt in as well. He's fully on board with the cause now. Family Nova ties. I feel like JJ, if I had to guess, I feel like it's going to be DiVincenzo. I feel like they're going to meet with Bruce Brown. There's going to be interest, but probably another team comes in with a little bit more money, I think, in the end. But I think the $12.4 million mid-level is a perfect sweet spot for us, for Dante, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, two of his best friends in the league. Look, my question to you is, where do you feel like the minutes are going to come um, for Dante DiVincenzo? For me, I'd have to probably guess right now is Obi. Seems like maybe out of the rotation guys, Obi seems like he's the one that's going to be out of the rotation. Um, but I don't really like that trade from what I'm hearing. Obi for second round picks. I mean, yeah, I feel like it's come to that now. We've waited too long. Obi's stock has dropped in terms of trade stock because other teams know, we're likely to explore a deal. But I'd love us to hold on to Obi for another year. But yeah, let's say we bring in DiVincenzo, we can play some small ball. We could play RJ at the backup four, Josh Hart at the backup four as well. And of course, yeah, Dante DiVincenzo slots in. Um, but obviously, yeah, it can still go with a 10-man rotation minus Deuce McBride. Like Gerard says, salute. Yep, Deuce McBride. Even in, looks like he's the dude who's going to miss out on a 10-man rotation. Um, yeah, in terms of your feelings towards Brown, JJ says I feel like Brown is the better play, but DiVincenzo with the chemistry. Yeah. Um, and DiVincenzo has played a very limited role recently, obviously with the Warriors as well. I'll be interested to see how far he could go with a bigger role, in terms of not necessarily minutes, but usage, usage on the ball, um, more freedom, more freedom to play, reading and reacting as well. Uh, let's see what we got with Woj coming down the pike. We keep refreshing. Salute guys. What's an ideal off-season free agency for you guys now? The James Harden thing kind of took the Knicks world by storm yesterday, but yeah, would the Knicks put their hat in the ring whenever a star's available? Of course, they're gonna inquire about it, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're hot on the situation or it's a player that they're willing to give up all the things that, Philly are looking for. It's a 1 year kind of rental, provided he decides to extend. But I don't know about a James Harden extension, let alone fit as well. So it's a Harden pass for me, fam. How you guys feeling? Yeah, buzzer beater salute. Tibbs doesn't like playing the small ball. That's going to be interesting as well to watch. Do we try to go out and get another backup for a bigger dude, a rebounder, a bruiser, that kind of thing? Um, yeah, my thoughts on terms of me talking about us looking to try to get a different kind of five. Um, a guy like a Jock Landale would be interesting if we could get him. Um, but yeah, that's the main story relating to the Knicks, fam. How you guys feeling? Um, DiVincenzo going to meet with Bruce Brown, two really good fits. Obi Toppin trade. I'm not really liking the rumors about, trade for picks. But we wait to see what happens with that. I feel like James Harden is going to the Clippers. Does that mean they try to offload some salary with Paul George? That's the big thing to watch. I don't know if they're going to keep a Paul George, Harden, and Kawhi thing together. Let's see. Maybe they try for 1 year, but one may ask, how do the Clippers get how do they get a trade done without including Paul George? That's going to be interesting as well. I mean, they've got Mook Morris, salary filler, maybe Norm Powell. I really don't know what Philly are going to be trying to get. Um, 6 o'clock's almost hitting, man. Me and my Knicks, we haven't done anything yet. We've got a couple meetings lined up with DiVincenzo, Bruce Brown. So we wait to see. I feel like the DiVincenzo thing may trickle into day two just because he's going to meet with these other teams. But I think the Knicks are in the driver's seat. Um, what's good, Keith? Yeah, Bruce Brown is a wing we need. We already have a fleet of guards. I'm getting Brown, and I'm making him my starter immediately. Um, maybe a dude who does deserve more usage. A showed up man in the playoffs in a big moments. Good size, great role player. I think he's 6'6". Yeah, if the Knicks could get that pulled off, I'll be really happy. I'll be really happy, really impressed um, with a Bruce Brown. I mean, that eliminates some of the question marks. Can he perform in the playoffs? Bang. Can he stroke it? Can he dribble? Can he create? Can he defend? He can do lots of things, like you said. Uh, yeah, Knicks won today. Won't be surprised if the DiVincenzo thing happens late into the night. He's gonna take a call, take a quick Zoom meeting, maybe a couple of teams. But I think yeah, the Knicks are in the driver's seat for that situation, unless there's a huge thing that changes the whole complexion of that. Maybe it is Bruce Brown. Um, the fact is, he wants to continue. Uh, I'm sure he wants to play for a team that has a chance to win. He won a championship, but he probably doesn't want to fall off and play for a lottery team. So he probably wants to play for a team who's competitive, a team who can offer him the same or a bigger role, and also meet his salary expectations. You know, Indiana strike me as a big team to watch because Indiana have the money, they're young, they have a role to offer, they have um, flexibility as well. Yeah, Indiana is a big player in this situation. They do look like they're trying to make the playoffs. They got Tyrese Halliburton. Had an amazing draft. Um, you know, I hope they don't steal Obi off us for a bag of Skittles. But we wait to see what happens. I feel like yeah, we've left the Obi thing way too long. So I really won't be surprised if it is just a couple of second round picks, maybe protected first round pick. Um, at the end of the day, we do got to get some kind of value back. We can't just afford to lose Obi for nothing. Uh, Nick Yak, salute. If we do get the Italian kid who's losing minutes, I think it's going to be Obi and McBride. Um, Either Obi's minutes go down even more in a small ball situation, or um, we have a situation where Deuce McBride sits out the regular season. So we're 10 minutes away. The penny's going to drop. Best believe that. Um, we're going to hear some stuff. There's already some rumors that a Bruce Brown to Indiana is done. Like I said, that's just rumors at the moment. Nothing credible. No reports. But as we talked about, the Indiana Pacers have a huge bag that they can throw, and he's a perfect wing. And look, would Dante DiVincenzo be a very solid a backup? We could do a hell of a lot worse. He can defend, he can create, he can spot up and shoot. Um, and look, for 12 milli, I think that's perfect. It fits in. We could play some small ball lineups. We got Draymond Green expected to sign the 4-year, 100 milli bag with the Golden State Warriors. Reports Mark Stein as well. So that's interesting. The Fred VanVleet situation is going to be fascinating tonight. What happens out in Toronto? OG Anunoby moved from Clutch Sports over to the CAA fam as well. Um, Maybe not this season, maybe the next, but he might be a future target. The issue is what we're hearing is, Toronto and Masai Ujiri are a nightmare to deal with. They're asking for way too much, so it's a hard pass. And that's where the patience of Leon Rose, his front office, is very important. You know, Masai Ujiri thinks he's dealing with the 2013 Knicks, not the 2023 front office. So the Raptors have a meeting with Fred VanVleet at 3 p.m. Pacific. So that's his first official contact of free agency. There's optimism with a fourth year and 30 mil will be enough to keep Van Vliet in Toronto. That'd be interesting. I really don't know what Toronto's trying to do, man. What do you guys feel? I mean, it's for me. I think it's time to change things up, uh, as well as the same with in Chicago. Yeah, Lakers clutch sports looking at Cam. Yep, 100%. Keith's feeling like the money spent on Dante is redundant. We could spend it elsewhere. Um, hoping he chooses the T-Wolves. Yeah. Nick Yak got McBride as a breakout player next year, eventually taking Quickly's role, stepping up. Maybe Rocas as well. A Rocas, Deuce McBride backcourt off the bench together. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, fam, based on what's realistic, if it was up to me, I would also, my first priority would be Bruce Brown. Knowing that it's not as likely Indiana got more money, but my second backup would be, yeah, Dante. Um, and then I would save Obi for a bigger blockbuster trade. I don't want to trade Obi for just a couple bag of Skittles, couple second round picks, spare parts, all of that kind of stuff. That's not fair. That's bad. That's bad business. Now, if it's a full unprotected first round pick or a slightly protected first round pick, I could kind of understand. But I think Obi has more value on the Knicks. Just play him. Just use him. Run that final year and see if all you're getting is a couple second round picks. Uh, there's some rumors that the Knicks are maybe interested in a Joe Ingles, a veteran wing hybrid four who can stretch it, who can shoot. But Orlando look like they're going to swoop in for a Joe Ingles, another guy past his prime, slightly injured or often injured last year. So yeah, we got that situation, and I think it's going to be a case of us looking to that Dante situation for $12.4 million. There's not a whole lot of players of his quality that you could get, for that kind of money. So I can understand why they're making that a priority. Um, with that said, do we still continue to look for that big star? I don't know if it's going to be a Paul George this off season. I really could see this team just going for that mid-level and then keeping the rest intact, waiting for the trade deadline, and then waiting to see what happens. But yeah, Bruce Brown would be my top target. That's gettable right now. And, money talks, but also maybe he wants to play for a team that can still compete. The Indiana Pacers are still a borderline, play-in team, lottery team. Also, Torrey Craig's a good name. Salute Bodega. He's a CAA connection. Torrey Craig won't be as expensive. So I know we don't have much roster spots again, but would you consider splitting the mid-level into two $6 million packages? Maybe we could get a Shake Middleton and a Torrey Craig, a guy who's a wing who could defend, and another guy who's more offensive oriented as well. And we shake things up, trading Fournier and Obi. That could be an interesting proposition as well. I think they're going to spend the whole mid-level on one guy, but that is an option as well. If you want to bring in more talent, you could split it in half. Yep. Salute to the best chat. Let's go. The streets are buzzing. 3 minutes to go till the penny's going to drop. We know most of these deals are consummated already or in the works. Rumors are Bruce Brown has already chosen the Pacers. They're going to dump the bag real quick. Remember, you got to be quick in this game or you're going to lose out. Some players don't even go through with their other meetings. Sometimes you like what you hear. They massage your ego. They drop the bag on you, and that's all you need to hear. Uh, yeah, quiet money. What's good? Salute. Feeling like Obi's been overrated, and the fact is that we might end up, be trading him for pennies. Now, Indiana already traded Duarte, so I don't know what player is coming back. I think we're going to take on a player with lesser salary, maybe one of their veteran minimum guys, and then some draft compensation. But yeah, talks are continuing with the Knicks and with Indiana. Buzzer, I feel like CP3 is going to stay in Golden State for 1 year. I think it gives him the best chance at winning that chip. Playing next to Steph, less pressure on him. He doesn't have to score. He can be the CP3 of old, which is facilitate, just organize the team and yeah, try to win. I think that's all he's trying to do right now. But yeah, Dante, like Dirty says, another good rebounder in the fold. Team guy. Stats don't always, paint the picture with Dante. He's a dude who can be on the floor late in a critical playoff game. He can stroke it. He can handle the ball some. Um, where's he going to fit? I guess like the way I look at it is look at that situation in Miami in Game 6. The Knicks had a 14-point lead. We had to rest the starters, Brunson, Randall on the bench. The Knicks offense was stuttering. Deuce McBride couldn't handle the offense. A guy like Dante DiVincenzo on the floor, who's got championship pedigree, would be a perfect guy on the floor to have at that point. Can handle some, can shoot as well. Is he a perfect player? No. But for 12 milli, I think the Knicks have done well. If they can get this deal, I think they will. And we will break down his game a lot more, I think, when it's official, because I do think it's going to be more official very soon. But let's see with the Bruce Brown situation. Like I said, looks like Toronto's trying to keep things intact. Maybe talks were premature, breaking things up. OG probably going to stay now. Pascal probably going to stay, like Fred. Maybe Gary Trent. I think Gary Trent is that dude who's going to be gettable. He's going to, I don't know if they can retain everyone. Um, yeah, Lakers are expecting to make that big offer for AR, 4 year, 52 mil when free agency begins. He might get more than that, but that's interesting. They got no choice. Absolutely no choice with that. Um, so yeah, Woj has given us he's just given us the breakdown right now on screen with the new salary cap numbers. So per sources, 136 milli, tax level 165.2, first apron 172, with the second apron 182, and the non-taxpayer mid-level 12.4. Yet the salary cap and tax levels will rise 10%. So that's it from Woj. The New York Knicks are not a taxpayer at this point, so we're we're in a pretty good position. We're going to keep Fournier's salary for an outgoing deal that's going to help us bring in that big salary. I think so. Don't expect any Fournier trade unless it's a blockbuster, because yeah, we need outgoing salary in the worst way. Um, that's kind of like why Obi's still important too. That's kind of, I think, 6 milli. That's that's kind of important, but um, roster construction, all of those things. Obviously, chemistry is a worry now. You know, what do you guys feel like with Tom Thibodeau, Obi Toppin? Now, I don't think they like each other, but I don't really think there's bad blood. Kind of that. I don't think that the sides would not be able to coexist. Um, but would either side prefer a change of scenery? Probably. Um, I mean, if you're Obi in a contract year, even if you did like Tom Thibodeau, you would want a situation where you can play. Um, a young team that's maybe doesn't have as many expectations. Indiana is perfect. Detroit. Um, it seems like, man, Houston's linked to everybody. They're trying to get Kuzma. So maybe there is no rotation spots for Obi in Houston. Um, I think Obi would be nice in LA. I think Obi with the Clippers coming off the bench. Let's say they did trade Mook Morris. Right, so it's free agency, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it. Right now, we have a big Shams bomb, which is Draymond Green and Rich Paul of Clutch Sports have agreed to a 4-year, 100 milli contract to return to the Golden State Warriors. So Draymond Green might be a Warrior for life as well. There was a lot of smoke that maybe Draymond might go somewhere, but Draymond Green, Rich Paul getting that deal done. Salute to him, man. 100 milli, that's a lot for a player of his age. But the Warriors want to keep things together. Yeah. What's good, buzzer beater? Salute. $5 super chat. Let's go. Miles Bridges, restricted free agent. We could get him and keep him on our current roster. This would put RJ at the 2 where he belongs and Miles at the 3. Yeah, basketball fit, perfect. Miles Bridges, he is restricted now. The Hornets extended a deal, a qualifying offer, I think. So to make him restricted, I don't know if the Knicks have enough money to offer him right now. There's probably going to be other teams kick the tires on that. But I could see him, wanting to stay back in Charlotte. There's a big role for him as well. But I do think that Bridges, is gettable. If you're willing to pony up. But yeah, maybe a team like Indiana with cap space again might come in. But yeah, I agree with putting RJ at the 2 would give us a bit more size. But where does that put Grimes? Do you think Grimes' future is back on the bench? It's a big year for Grimes, 3rd year coming up. Yeah, Draymond's going to be a Warrior for life, I think. Yep, we could use the mid-level, definitely. But I do think that Charlotte's gonna be able to match, outbid. That's the advantage of the restricted free agency, fam, is that the player has the rights to then to go over and retain the player. So just working to refresh the feed. So yep, another bomb from Woj, and it's relating to Karis LeVert. As you see on screen, breaking news: Karis LeVert retained by our nemesis, the Cleveland Cavaliers. No surprise there, but CAA basketball, Austin Brown getting it done. A 2-year, 32 milli. What do you guys think about that? They were kind of stuck, kind of hamstrung with what they could do. They needed to retain LeVert. I mean, they might be able to trade him in the future, but they needed that. And then we see Draymond flexing that 100 milli. Wonder how old Draymond is, but yeah, that's not bad at all, man. For an older man, 100 milli. Chris Haynes now reporting free agent Trey Lyles with Rich Paul Clutch Sports getting an agreement done with the Sacramento Kings as well. So we've had the official cap numbers. We've had Karis LeVert, Draymond Green. Let's see what else is up. Yep. Things are buzzing right now. Free agent forward Taurean Prince is finalizing a deal with the LA Lakers right now. Shams is absolutely cooking right now. That came out of left field. I didn't think Taurean Prince, who, by the way, was, very surprisingly just kind of let go by the T-Wolves, obviously salary constraints. Yep. Deals going down. Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, trying to clutch that money ASAP. We got Colby White returning back to Chicago on a 3-year, 33 milli. Yep. Bruce Brown has signed with the Pacers right now. Bruce Brown off the board. Like I told you, fam, you got to be quick. Yep. A team drops the money and it's a wrap. Yep. Drew Eubanks has agreed to the 2-year deal with Phoenix as well. That's a good deal for the Phoenix Suns as well. Trying to add some role players, some depth. The Pacers are emerging as a top landing spot for Obi. And the Knicks searching for draft compensation right now. Free agent Kyle Kuz right now has agreed on a 4-year, $102 million deal with the Washington Wiz, co-head of CAA Austin Brown as well. So there we have it, man. Kyle Kuzma. What are your thoughts, fam? The Knicks avoid that fit, that issue, that money. Paying Kyle Kuzma is off the board. Yep. Yeah, these deals have been done for a minute, like I told you. I mean, the NBA kind of knows. They brought the deadline to 6 p.m. These deals have been done, fam. ESPN making layoffs today, letting go Max Kellerman, Jeff Van Gundy, Keyshawn. Yep, Kyle Kuz off the board. Josh Okogie has reached an agreement with the Suns also to return. So, yep, the Suns trying to retain some pieces that they need, right? Every guy they got needs the ball, from Bradley Beal to Booker, KD. They were talking about Kyrie. Yep, Kuz off the board, fam. Draymond Green getting the bag. Bruce Brown also. Knicks, what you got? What's going to happen? Right now, these meetings happening quick. Colby White returning to the Bulls for a 40 mil deal for 3 years. That's solid. I don't know what the Bulls are doing though, running everything back. But yeah, Bruce Brown to the Pacers. Do they need some extra help with the bench unit with Obi Toppin? Yeah, I feel your pain, Keith, in terms of the Bruce Brown situation, but it really wasn't. He wasn't really out there for the Knicks for very long. Unfortunately, a cap space that did us in. Maybe if we didn't have Evan Fournier's money on the books, if the Knicks had 15 milli in available space, 20 milli, that might have been enough. But we're going star hunting right now. I think RJ could be that guy outgoing in the next star deal to make that money fit. You mentioned a lot of redundancies with RJ, with Grimes, with Hart, with DiVincenzo now. I mean, there's a lot of kind of dudes that are fitting in as a role guy right now. We need to consolidate. We need to bring in a guy who's a star. OG Anunoby, I would be okay with exploring that if the deal's right. Because he's a next tier above. He's the next level. Is he a superstar? No, but he's an all-round player. He can do everything. He can shoot. He can defend as well. He's got incredible length and size. Switchable, 6'9", versatile. Let's see what happens with OG. No surprise, DeAndre Jordan back to the Nuggets, probably on a veteran's minimum as well. So yeah, Bruce Brown off the board, Kuzma's off the board now. Some people are saying good news for the Knicks as well. They didn't want to dabble in that Kuzma business. But yeah, CAA guys getting paid, Clutch getting paid. Now, what do we have here? Free agent Keita Bates Diop. another CAA dude, 5 milli with the Phoenix Suns. Great deal. Great deal for Phoenix. Here's a dude I was interested in. Keita Bates-Diop. Yeah, DeAndre got a chip with Denver, and yep, DeAndre got that chip. So Colby White also, a lot of deals dropping, as we know, right? It's only 12 past 6 Eastern time, right? We're going to take everyone right through the night and react to see what the Knicks can do on day one of free agency, right? I think there's a good chance we'll hear the DiVincenzo confirmation, but it doesn't take long to meet with 4 teams. Especially, the Knicks have made him a priority. I think they've met with DiVincenzo first, and then he's going to meet with some other teams, especially with Bruce Brown off the board now. A lot of teams are going to be focused on trying to pry DiVincenzo. Rotation minutes, obviously, up in question with Obi here, with Deuce here. How is Tibbs going to use all these guys, right? Derrick Rose is obviously off the books now, so haven't really had a chance to address that. And farewell, D Rose. Appreciate everything he did, but yeah, the time is now for him to go on for his next move and explore trying to win a chip. Wouldn't be surprised if he signs with the Lakers and pairs up with Bron. Won't be surprised if he signs with the Clippers, actually. One of those sunny teams out west. Or maybe go back to Chicago. But yeah, like I said, with that said, we really only got dead money of Fournier now. So that money from D Rose is getting used to re-sign Josh Hart, which is probably going to be, well, Josh Hart's opted in, to his 12.9 milli final year, and he's going to get extended probably for 19, 20 milli per year for another 4 years as well. The DiVincenzo thing is not a move that's going to shake up the world, but another positive with the DiVincenzo move is that it's a very, very tradable contract. Let's say you're trying to make a star trade or a package in the future with a guy like RJ, DiVincenzo, Quickly, Toppin, Fournier salary. The Knicks are really, if they do sign DiVincenzo for just cap space or money, that's another asset that we could trade in the future as well. So, I mean, we're accumulating tradable assets at the end of the day. I know there's some questionable fit with DiVincenzo, but yeah, we're taking in another trade potential. So yeah, 5 milli for Keita Bates-Diop for 2 years. That's a bargain. I don't know why I don't know what's out there. I guess a lot of salary being used up. But yeah, that's a great deal for Phoenix. Josh Okogie also. Taurean Prince was probably the biggest surprise for me so far. A lengthy wing who can stroke it, who can defend. That's a great pickup for the Lakers. Taurean Prince. There's talks they're going to re-sign D'Lo Russell also for 20 mil per. Yeah. Yeah, Nick Yak, that's the biggest question, man. What star at this point can we afford putting us over? I think we're just going to run it back and we're going to be patient. We're going to wait till a guy like Embiid is available. Well, maybe we are still talking about Levine, but Chicago's asking price is just too much. Maybe Paul George's asking price is too much. So, do you do a deal that's going to hurt you just for the sake of doing a deal? The Knicks definitely want to make a deal. They want to bring in a star. But yeah, it's not that easy. I do know Tom Thibodeau really likes OG Anunoby. So I don't know if we're willing to, send RJ over to Canada, first round draft picks, He's probably going to want Emmanuel quickly. Messiah Ujiri's a straight thief to deal with. Yep. Buzz is glad that no Kyle, no Kuz. Yep. What else we got here? Damian Lee. So guard Damian Lee has agreed to a 1-year deal with the Suns. Yep. Another fringe move. So, yep, we're waiting on the New York Knicks news. We're going to see what happens with DiVincenzo. Bruce Brown's gone. Kuzma's gone. Torian Prince is gone. A lot of these gettable wings. So yeah, friend of the show, David Aldridge, says Kyle Kuzma wanted to get paid, but he also wanted to be somewhere where he could continue to have the ball in his hands. Yeah, no surprises there. Who could be a playmaker, who could and would be allowed to grow his game. Washington gave him that latitude. Yep, he took a John Collins level deal to stay in DC. Yeah, there you go. No KP, no more, no Bradley Beal. Um, you know, I guess that just tells you, he's all about the bag, really. I mean, Washington's not going to do anything, really. I mean, you have the chance to sign a deal, get paid well with a better team, and you stay in Washington, right? No Bradley Beal, no KP. They're going to be nothing but a fringe lottery play-in team. But it is what it is, I guess. Yeah, Jalen Rose is gone from ESPN too. Yep. Yeah, sad news. We wish everyone well, but yeah, obviously it's a ruthless business. We got Max Kellerman, Jalen Rose, Jeff Van Gundy from the live broadcast. Um, Talks that Kendrick Perkins, Stephen A. Smith are safe, but to everyone else that we missed out on, also Keyshawn, people losing their roles right now, but they'll find something. They'll find something with maybe, FanDuel or TNT, ABC. Talks, people starting their own outlets as well. So, but yeah, nothing's promised, man. It's been a good run for a lot of these dudes, especially Max Kellerman and Jalen Rose and Jeff Van Gundy. Yep. So yeah, the pennies dropped officially now. Reporting with Malika Andrews, Woj says Bruce Brown has agreed on a 2-year, 45 mil deal with the Pacers. Yep, there you have it. That's huge. Yeah, I mean the Knicks couldn't even get in that realm. Keith, chat, yeah, 45 mil for 2 years. That's crazy money for a Bruce Brown. That's $22 million per guaranteed. Talk about dudes. That's almost what Jalen Brunson's getting paid. I mean, salute to Bruce Brown. Probably the big winner of free agency right now. That's insane money. I mean, I know people balking at what Josh Hart might get, what DiVincenzo is going to get, but yeah, Bruce Brown for 23 mil, 22 mil is kind of crazy. But I mean, yeah, the classic overpay for Indiana, teams like Milwaukee, teams like Minnesota, Cleveland got to overpay. Cleveland agreed to terms with Karis LeVert also for 33 mil. They got to keep their talent because yeah, not a lot of dudes knocking down their door, especially it was a key piece, Karis LeVert coming off the bench. But another name I would have liked us to go for, fam, is Torian Prince. Yeah, Torian Prince would have been another great fit. But yeah, if we miss out on Dante, I'm going to be even more frustrated. But I don't feel like that's likely. Um, I know Bruce Brown was, Dante was going to meet with 3 other teams, but honestly, they're all offering kind of the same money now. Now that Indiana's spent their money, there's not a lot of teams with more than 12.4 milli that the Knicks can offer. So Dante, I think, with the connections with Jalen Brunson, with Josh Hart, I think with the Villanova gang, yep, yep, I know it's coming. Yeah, I think there's going to be some consolidation moves though too, Keith. I think even if we're getting Dante in here, there's going to be some kind of consolidation. Some teams interested in Deuce McBride, Obi Toppin. Maybe there is a deal done. And another big bombs dropped with Shams, Jeremy Grant, Clutch Sports, Rich Paul have agreed to a 5-year, $160 million deal to return to the Portland Trail Blazers. So salute to Jeremy Grant getting paid. Jeremy Grant, what a whopping deal. That's a big payment. 5 years, 160. That's crazy. So obviously keeping Dame happy. Now they got maybe Scoot Henderson. They got a shade on Sharp, Anthony Simons, and that situation as well. They passed up on obviously they didn't get Brandon Miller, but yeah, there we have it. Jeremy Grant staying. Yeah, Knicks won today. Says that teams are bugging. Yeah. Well, what do you think what that does to Portland? Does that put them anywhere? I mean, teams got to overpay to keep their talent, but it's not a smart move. I would have traded Jeremy Grant if I could. Maybe they do try to trade him still, but that's a crazy contract right now. Same with Bruce Brown getting 22.5. Um, let this sink in. Mitchell Robinson's only getting paid 15 mil, and in 2 more seasons, Mitch is going to be getting 12 mil. Bruce Brown's getting 22 mil. Let that sink in. Right. I know wings are sought after, but one of the most elite offensive rebounders, defensive rim protectors in the entire game is only getting 12 mil in 2 years from now. A role playing wing like Bruce Brown is getting double that. Yeah. Chris Haynes reporting Boston and KP expected to finalize a 2-year, approximately $60 million extension as well. So that's KP off the board now for good. So KP going to stay with Boston for at least 3 more seasons now. Final year, opted in, got traded, another extension, 2 years, 60 mil. That's crazy. Yeah, it's kind of weird seeing KP in a Boston jersey. So we got Troy Brown now agreeing to Minnesota. Troy Brown, give him some playing time there as well. And of course, we have the Rich Paul, Jeremy Grant, 160 mil, which is absolutely crazy. That's crazy money right now. Probably the biggest crazy transaction so far. And Bruce Brown. No news from the Knicks yet. No rumblings, no nothing. Knicks staying quiet at this point. Who's still out there? Does Karl Anthony Towns get traded? Does OG Anunoby get traded now? I think Obi Toppin's probably going to get traded. Yeah. All sorts of memes with Bruce Brown carrying the bag. Jake Fisher says one main reason Jeremy Grant didn't come to an extension agreement with Portland prior to free agency was the chance to get that additional 5th year. Sources said what may amount to the difference of about $30 million. So that's Rich Paul, Clutch Sports doing some transactions there. That 5th year for Jeremy Grant's crazy for another 30 mil. Yep. Yeah, 2 years for 30 for KP. Yeah. Let's wait to see what the Knicks do. Let's chill. It's only day one of free agency. This thing's going to continue. Joe Ingles, I think, is going to go to Orlando. But yeah, there was some rumors about the Knicks inquiring about him. Maybe he's being a backup 4 option. Me and my Knicks salute. Yeah, that's interesting with Portland running it back. I mean, I know they got a talent upgrade with Scoot. We got Shaden Sharp another year. They got Anthony Simons, but I don't think that's going to please Dame. That's not going to do nothing in the West. Um, so yeah, we need more versatility. Look, Dante DiVincenzo gives this team extra versatility. The thing is, we could have gone more small ball with Obi as well. So I don't know if we're gonna utilize the small ball lineups with Tibbs, but there's a consolidation move come that we don't know about. Let's wait for the ripple effects, fam, before we react too much because, like I said, we don't know if an RJ Barrett trade is in the works. You know, that might make more sense with the DiVincenzo, Josh Hart signings as well. You know, we might be looking for that larger wing with OG Anunoby to take that 3 spot for RJ Barrett. Like I said, Obi's probably going to lose his rotation spot if he's traded, and then someone else slots in as well. So, yeah, I think Leon Rose, there's some shake-up coming. I think we can't stay stagnant. We'll see what's happening right now. Something better be in the works, yeah, for real. Max Strauss finalizing a big deal with the Cavs. That's crazy. Evan Massey is reporting that Max Strauss is about to get the bag from Cleveland, a 4-year, $64 million deal with the Cavs. I didn't know they had that kind of cap space. We'll wait to see if that's confirmed from some of these other reporters. But yeah, that's crazy. I knew Max Strauss, Gabe Vincent, that Miami was going to struggle to retain those guys. But yeah, Max Strauss with 4 years, 64 milli. That's crazy money. So Cleveland just improved. They got that wing that they needed. But what's going to happen is Max Strauss going to play the 3. Garland, Spider, Max Strauss. Now Okoro, does he get traded? Come off the bench. Of course, Karis LeVert now re-signed with Cleveland as well. I still think the Knicks are a better team than Cleveland as well. So I'm not scared about Cleveland, but they've definitely improved with Max Strauss. Is it an overpay? Well done to Max Strauss, undrafted, finally got paid the bag. Must feel good getting your first big payday, 64 mil. Jake Fisher saying a key option for the Lakers is their mid-level is veteran guard Eric Gordon now, long-standing trade deadline target for Rob Pelinka. So another CAA client might be going to the Lakers for their mid-level. Let's see. Reggie Jackson's agreed to a 2-year, $10 million deal to return to the Nuggets. So Reggie Jacks returning to the Nuggets as well in the later stage of his career now. Yeah. Jeremy Grant got the bag big time. So obviously what we're seeing, right, guys, we're seeing wings, even if they're just kind of role-playing wings, getting paid well. Teams snapping them up with Troy Brown, with Kuzma, with Taurean Prince as well. And what we're seeing is teams trying to retain their talent also, even if they're tradable in the future. That you got to retain your talent in free agency. We saw what happened with Jalen Brunson leaving the Dallas Mavericks. They set that franchise back probably 2 to 5 years. Set that back, losing Jalen Brunson for nothing. They better retain Kyrie Irving. Yeah. Speaking of Kyrie Irving, no news yet at all. So he's going to meet with with Phoenix. He's going to meet with a lot of teams. He's going to meet with Philly. The next big penny to drop is with Philly because James Harden, yep, that trade's going to get confirmed at some point. Opted into the final year so he could get traded. Yep. Max Strauss, Cleveland. I've given my thoughts. I don't think that pushes Cleveland too much further up. I think they're going to be about the fourth team, fifth team. Let's see what the Knicks can do. But at worst, if we run it back, I think we're the fourth or fifth team, best team as well. The thing is, we got that edge with the front court against Cleveland. We got Mitchell Robinson. Right? They got no answer for him. Jarrett Allen, soft. Evan Mobley, soft. Those guys still young. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Darren says, signed the 1 year deal. Well, but yeah, Cleveland finally got that wing, right? Isaac Okoro, that draft pick set them back. Talk about the Knicks draft pick, Obi Toppin, as well. Both teams kind of made the wrong selections, wrong fit. Cleveland might have been better off selecting Obi that year instead of passing on him. Man, if the Lakers give Eric Gordon 12 mil, I don't think that's wise to spend. So Brian Windhorst on the Knicks and James Harden says, if the price is right, I think the Knicks would consider it. I'll just leave it at that. So, I mean, that's not saying a lot. If the price is right, the Knicks would consider James Harden. But we know dealing with Daryl Morey, the price is not going to be right. So, and I'm more thinking about long-term fits, you know. I don't want 1 or 2 years of James Harden. It's not gonna do anything. Yeah, no news on the DiVincenzo front either. So, yeah, Minnesota fringe moves. Oh look, Minnesota move was to sign Naz Reid. So a lot of money invested in the 3 big men. I reacted immediately when that happened. I said Karl Anthony Towns trade is probably coming. Whether it's free agency before the deadline, I think I think they want to give it a longer look in terms of seeing what a healthy Cat and Rudy Gobert can do, but I don't think it's going to last very long. I don't see that being the right mixture of talent for Minnesota. I think that's just a ticking situation. Yeah. As Keith mentions, man, the Dante situation seems to be a foregone conclusion with the 12.4 mil exception. Like I said, I gave you a different way to look at it, you know, in terms of it's a clunky fit now with a lot of guys that are very similar, but also DiVincenzo is a commodity around the league. So you're signing an asset now for money, and we could probably make another trade at the deadline. Let's say if there's a bigger deal for RJ or there's a bigger deal for Dante, you know, in another package, in a star package as well. A lot of teams would be happy taking back, you know, Evan Fournier, let's say a Quickly, a DiVincenzo, and draft picks for or RJ for a star. I think that's going to help us in the future as well. I think Kyrie Irving is going to go back to Dallas. I don't see the market being very big, so that's interesting. Now we have another deal Woj announces, which is Javon. The bigger deal is Javon Carter has agreed to a 3-year, 20 mil to join the Bulls. So he's on the move. Good defensive guy, role player. Going to help the Bulls out. That's the point guard that they need help with Lonzo. Lonzo out for the year now, so that was sorely needed. They gave money to Colby White and Javon Carter now, so that's their maybe Derrick Rose is needed back in Chicago, man. That's their point guard rotation. Kobe White and Javon Carter. We also have another free agent forward. Yeah, Chimezi Metu has agreed to the 1 year deal with the Suns. So yeah, the Suns are making a lot of moves in terms of just solidifying their rotation playing roster now with some veterans on cheap deals. Um, Obviously, their roster is very, very top heavy. What's good, Dermot? So the Pacers have signed Bruce Brown for $22 million per year, a 2 year, $45 million deal. So that's massive for the Indiana Pacers now. They got that wing that they can pair up with, well, a veteran wing that they can pair up now with Benedict Mathurin. They traded Chris Duarte yesterday as well. So they're solidifying their wing rotation now. They also drafted some really good players, some wings as well. Isaiah Wong, I think, and another guy. Um, Obi Toppin may be still a possibility for the pacemakers. Troy Brown agreed to T-Wolves as well. Yeah, lots of cash going around. Yep. I think they could still do with Obi. There's reports, Ian Begley still reporting that the Pacers and the Knicks are still in discussions over that situation. I mean, the Portland Trailblazers have a lot of young talent now, and they still have draft picks, and they can't make all those picks. So I think the Knicks could solidify some picks back for Obi. Personally, I would like a rotation player back for Obi as well. I don't want to trade Obi just for second round picks. That's just pointless for me. I'd rather keep Obi in a larger deal. But yeah, the Pacers, the Cleveland Cavs have got better slightly. Reggie Jackson, Javon Carter now off the table. We reflect, right? This day last year, the Knicks signed Jalen Brunson to a 4 year, $104 million deal. With that's crazy in terms of that. We look at deals like Max Strauss. We look at dudes like Bruce Brown now. 1 year, the salary changes drastically. The Knicks got in at the right time for this Jalen Brunson move, and we need to capitalize, right? We need to get him some talent before his next payday. I think that's critical. The best money spent ever. I think that's one of the best contracts in the league, along with Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson's deal is descending, 15 mil. Next year it's going to be 14. The year after that's going to be 12. Think of if Mitchell Robinson's a all defensive team kind of guy in 2 years from now, he's on $12 million. That's chump change. That's less than role players' money. Jalen Brunson, of course, as well. Not even capping out at 25 mil per year. All-star, all-NBA production as well. You got to give Leon Rose and the Knicks credit for those kind of moves. But we like I said, we really need to pair him up with some guys now to make a run in these 2 years, or get that money, get that star in house before we have to re-up Jalen Brunson. I do really feel like Spider Mitchell is that long-term guy that's probably going to find his way to the Knicks. I think the Knicks are probably waiting on Joel Embiid's situation. But yeah, that's it. I think it's Spider Mitchell, another connection. Malik Beasley, looking like the Lakers are going to make a run at him to keep him as well. Actually, no, I think the opposite. I think the Lakers are going to let Malik Beasley go because they need to pick up his $16 million option. I don't think that's something they're going to do. So yeah, he could be gettable. Yeah, Malik Beasley, I don't know about his fit with the Knicks now too. If we do get DiVincenzo, I would have preferred a Taurean Prince, but yeah, he was snapped up. Like I said, these wings don't last very long. This is day one of free agency. You snooze, you lose. The Suns will let Jock Landale enter unrestricted free agency as well. So that's interesting. He's probably trying to get a little bit more money. That, of course, they're looking like they're trying to keep DeAndre Ayton. So that's, yeah, they're trying to keep those stars together. But yeah, DeAndre Ayton's taken up a lot of money. There was no trade suitors for him, really, or no deals that they really liked. I think a team will definitely come in for Jock Landale for probably 4 to 5 mil per. He's a guy who played okay in the playoffs. A big man who can rebound and who can shoot the three some. Yeah, if the Lakers get Eric Gordon, why not just get D Rose as well? Yeah, try to get as veteran heavy as possible. Get Melo out of retirement. LeBron James, stack up the chips for one last run before he goes back to Cleveland or pairs up with Bronny James, whichever team drafts Bronny next year. Sports Center reporting that the Wiz got a new duo, Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole. No shade intended, but that's not a new duo. That's two dudes that want the ball on a lottery team that's going to get all that they can handle. Yeah, facts, Nick. Yeah. Mitch went from 18 to 14, and it's going to be then 12. What a contract for Leon. So, yeah. I feel like Mitch been signing bad contracts ever since he came into the league. Remember, Mitch's first agent made him sign a 4-year, like $4 million deal, $1 million a year for 4 years with no options as well. That was crazy for Mitch. Then he signed another below market deal as well. Well, at the first year wasn't really below market, but he signed too many years guaranteed. He should have signed a 3-year deal with a player option in the third year, should Mitchell Robinson. But I mean, can't hate. He went for the guaranteed money. Yeah, but Mitch is definitely outperforming that. He's, if he can hold firm and stay healthy, he'll get his bag. He'll get another bag. But yeah, like I said, it's the time's ticking for the Knicks in terms of asset management. You know, everyone want the Knicks to build patiently because they don't want us to make a bad move, and I understand that. But they're completely ignoring the fact that we're managing the books. There's the reason there's capologists, asset managers as well, GMs. They need to manage the salaries of the team, right? And Jalen Brunson's gonna need to get paid. Mitchell Robinson gonna need to get paid. Quentin Grimes will need to get paid, right? We're seeing what's happened in Atlanta. We've seen what happened with OKC, trying to keep everybody. It's not realistic, you know. You can't draft Obi, quickly, RJ, Grimes, and pay everybody. You can't just pay everybody 20, 25 mil. Eventually you need to trade someone and consolidate, or a player's going to walk in free agency. So another big announcement from Woj is Georgia's Niang, step right up, has agreed to a 3-year, $26 million contract with the Cavs. Ladies and gentlemen, the Cleveland Cavs have made some fringe moves. Couple of wings. Georgia's Niang now can shoot it. And Max Strauss as well. So it looks like they've identified their targets in their kind of market, their range, and they've executed of Cleveland. Now they're trying to keep Spider Mitchell, Darius Garland together, competing. What are our thoughts on that? Georgia's Niang's 3-year deal with the Cavs. I mean, that's a fair contract for him, but that's not going to move the needle. Yeah. Two good pieces, but it's not going to move the needle, I don't feel. But they did what they needed to do, really, with their money available. Like there's really nothing else they could have done. So in terms of the way they executed, well done. But yeah, Max Strauss was the better pickup. But Georges Niang on a 3-year, 26 mil. That's not bad. He can play the 4 and the 3 and the 4. Yeah, they needed bench depth. You know, the Knicks definitely undressed them. Isaac Okoro, where does that leave him now? I think Isaac Okoro's out of there, I think. Yeah, Kyrie's back to Dallas. Yeah, I feel. Yep, money talks. And a $126 million contract to return to the Dallas Mavericks. Shams on it first on that one. Salute me. Kyrie, yep, back in the big D. Yeah, salute Jeremy. What's good? Robert, Billy, salute. The thing is, yeah, if you are a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers, day one of free agency is critical because yeah, you're not going to sit around waiting for the Kyries, for the James Hardens. You can't. You're a small market team. You've already got your Donovan Mitchells, your Garlands, your Mobleys. You need to identify the right role pieces, and you need to get them quickly. And that's exactly what Cleveland's done. So I can't hate, but I still think the Knicks are a better team than Cleveland. Like I think this pushes them a little bit more competitive in a playoff series. They've got obviously Max Strauss is very versatile. You know, Georges Niang's an okay piece. You know, he had some moments with Philadelphia against the Knicks. But yeah, I think it's a solid contract. But they done what they had to do, I think. But yeah, Kyrie back in the big D with Luka. I don't like that fit, but one could expect that Dallas will finish above the 10th worst record, and the New York Knicks will finally get that draft pick from the Kristaps Porzingis trade. So another asset that the Knicks can draft or trade. Um, yeah. Um, Not a lot of news on the Miles Bridges situation. Obviously, Charlotte extended the qualifying offer. Let's see. Yeah, some people saying Quickly wasn't overpaid, or 20 mil for Quickly is not an overpay. If Javon Carter is getting 20 mil for 3 years, it's just it's the price of inflation. Everything's going up, right? Yesterday's price ain't today's price, so you got to act quick. But boy, did these contracts. You could say whatever you want about the players, but the contracts that Leon Rose got RJ, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, and Jalen Brunson on as well is incredible value. Incredible value for a team that's not even paying the tax at the moment. Um, we we're basically going to sign. We've got Josh Hart now opted in, and we can basically spend 12.4 million on Dante DiVincenzo or someone else. Split that money if we like, and we're still not going to be paying the tax this year as well. So to put together a competitive roster that's maybe the third, fourth, fifth best team in the East, and we're not paying any tax yet. So some very solid contracts, but time's ticking, and we're going to have to pay some of these guys soon. You can't underpay people forever. So what else is next, ladies and gentlemen? Another penny's dropped right now with star Chris Middleton, three-time All-Star, has signed a new 3-year deal for 100 mil to return to the Milwaukee Bucks. So they're going all in, doubling down. Was injured this year. Chris Middleton, definitely a piece, to help Giannis. But I think the Bucks need more. I think, especially if he's not healthy in the regular season. I think Miami's still a definite demon in their side. But they did what they needed to do. Chris Middleton, new 3-year deal. You got to salute Chris Middleton, I guess, because I'm sure he could have got a 4-year, 5-year deal somewhere. But for him to just at this stage of his career to agree to a 3-year deal. I mean, that's helping the team out, you know. I mean, I'm not here to throw shade on Melo or anything, but I'm just trying to say in that situation, Carmelo Anthony would have hunted the 5-year deal as well as any other kind of aging star would have. But Chris Middleton agrees to a new 3-year deal. Now, we have a huge deal for Toronto now. Jakob Poeltl agreeing to a 4-year, $80 million contract. Boy, that's crazy right there. That's crazy. Jakob Poeltl, what is Toronto doing? Traded for him $20 million per. That's almost Jalen Brunson money for a guy like Jakob Poeltl, starting center. Again, that talks about how valuable Mitchell Robinson is, right? Mitchell Robinson earning 15 mil or Jakob Poeltl paying 20 mil. Who would you prefer? Yep. Joe Ingles, now veteran forward, is expected to reach the agreement with the Magic. Sources tell Chris Haynes, TNT. So, yeah, NYC, salute. Some crazy deals going around, right? Cleveland re-upped. Kyrie staying in Dallas. Chris Middleton staying. Jakob Poeltl earning 20 mil. Bruce Brown earning 22 mil. Yeah. Let these teams spend their money. Kevin Love is interested in signing with the Phoenix Suns now. Another mercenary, just trying to go wherever he can to win a chip. Cam Johnson staying in Brooklyn. Yeah, that's no surprise. Yeah, hard pass for Harden. Billy, 100% agree. 100%. I think the timeline just ain't right too. 2 years ago, yeah, okay. But, we look at the core of our roster. We're 26, 27 years of age with Brunson, with Randall, with RJ Young as well. So, also, it doesn't fit the need, right? If we're going to pay for a 33-year-old past their prime star, it'd be better be Paul George at the wing spot. Yeah, Karis LeVert agreed to a 2-year, $32 million deal, which is solid for him for Cleveland. A solid number as well. So supposedly Kyrie Irving met with 4 teams in 47 minutes and has signed the bag with Dallas. So that's a good joke right there. Kyrie was supposed to meet with 4 teams, and 47 minutes into free agency, signed the bag with Dallas. So that tells you he met with one other team. That's it. Yeah, $20 million annually for Jakob Poeltl now. Yeah, like I said, the salary cap's going up. If the Knicks don't make their moves now, we're going to have to be paying Mitchell Robinson 25 mil, 30 mil soon, right? We're going to be paying Jalen Brunson 40 mil soon as well. So, yeah, that's what I said. Everyone that says, oh, the Knicks just need to stand pat, let's keep building. Well, it doesn't work that way, The numbers are adding up. You need to make a move. You need to consolidate, do something. The East is absolutely wide open. Right? I've never felt better about our path to the NBA Finals in the last 25 years, since 1999 right now. I don't fear the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't fear the Heat. I don't fear the Cavs. I don't really fear Boston because I think we can match up. Milwaukee's a bad matchup, but outside of that, I think the Knicks are right here. We need to do something now. We need to do something now. I don't necessarily think it needs to be a stupid move, but the East is right there. We need internal improvement, absolutely. We need Grimes, we need RJ to come back more consistent. We need to get Mitchell Robinson more involved. We need Julius Randle to buy in. But, I think we're one move away. We're one piece to put us right alongside Milwaukee and right alongside Boston right now. an aging Middleton with Giannis. I don't think Milwaukee's that great. I think Drew Holiday has sort of dropped, has lost a step as well. Still a great player, but yeah, the East is wide open. So yeah, we have the Cam Johnson news, 4 years, 108 to stay with the Brooklyn Nets. So they're making good with the trade with Mikal Bridges and with Cam Johnson, the two big pieces they got from Phoenix. Good pieces to continue to build with, I guess. Like Washington have got Kuzma, and of course Jordan Poole as well. But yeah, that Jakob Poeltl deals, that's insane, man. Yeah, how we feeling? Um, yeah, KP injury concerns, fam. Nick Yak, 100%. Let's see, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. I just still don't think that's the best fit. Those two guys need the ball. It looks good on paper. Two lengthy wings that can shoot, can go isolation, but I don't think that's a great fit. They need a better point guard. They need better creation, a ball movement. I think that's where the Knicks come in. They got more versatility, I think, than Boston. Um, at the end of the day, the Knicks' three best players are all in different positions in terms of Jalen Brunson at the guard spot, R.J. Barrett at the wing, and Julius Randle at the forward spot. So I think the Knicks still got a bit more versatility than Boston if we play the right way. But definitely Boston improved with KP. NYC says he'll be happy with Cat and Spider long term. I think Spider's on the radar. I think Cleveland maybe got one more year to try to do something. He's not. I mean, Brian Windhorst said yesterday he doesn't expect Spider to sign an extension. So that's going to let the Cleveland Cavaliers know that they got to make a move or trade him ASAP. That could be a thing to watch real soon. Let's think, like, let's say Cleveland come out the gate slow. Cleveland are like, in the seventh seed after 30 games. Do they really start to contemplate just trading Donovan Mitchell and recouping all those assets again? If Cleveland come out hot, then of course they're going to ride them. But yeah, Cleveland's the thing to watch, because I do think Donovan Mitchell wants to come home, just like Jalen Brunson wanted to come home, and if that's what the Knicks can rely upon, then let's do it. We've never been in that situation before where homegrown New York stars want to come back to New York, so that's something. The fit ain't ideal with Donovan Mitchell and Brunson, but you get the talent first, you figure it out. You figure out the rest. Big year for RJ Barrett and big year for Quentin Grimes. Two guys that, if they are on this roster, have to get better this year, have to be more consistent at the wing spot. Otherwise, we know Tibbs is going to play Josh Hart 38 minutes. We know he's going to play Dante DiVincenzo 30 minutes as well. So I think we're bringing in these veteran reinforcements to put more pressure on Barrett and put more pressure on Grimes, because let's face it, they're getting paid soon, or Grimes is due to get paid soon, and Barrett's getting paid. There's not much difference between a Josh Hart making 20 million and RJ Barrett making 25 million as well. But I like RJ's playoffs. If he can carry that into the regular season, then that's going to be great, if he's still here. Like I said, if people are frustrated with Leon not making that move, it could be something to do with the fact that he knows Donovan Mitchell's going to come. It could be the fact that he knows, Minnesota's going to get more desperate, and they're just going to have to sell Cat at a really, really cheap price. Let's say Cat forces a trade, gets real ugly, forces a trade to the Knicks. No one else is going to put any assets on the table. It's going to be like Bradley Beal trade all over again, where it's maybe one first round pick and pieces as well. So that's going to be crazy to watch. Let them try to figure it out with Rudy Gobert and Cat. And if that doesn't work out, they're going to look even worse than where they're at right now. Yeah. Yeah, Mitch outplayed Rob Williams. Yeah, 100%. Cleveland as well. I really do think if we got past Miami, that Boston series would have gone 6 or 7 as well at minimum. That would have been a crazy series too. Trey Jones has agreed to a 2-year 20 mil with the Spurs. So that's what they needed to do. Yep. Handling their business. San Antonio Spurs are going to be a fascinating team. Can Wemby get them up the order to get close to the play-in? I think they've got enough talent. If Devin Vassell takes a big leap, Keldon Johnson, let's see if Wemby is the real deal. It's going to be fascinating to see him go up against Mitch. That's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing KP go up against Wemby as well. That's going to be fun. Wemby looks like he will play Summer League, but he's not going to play FIBA. Obviously, France team's loaded with Rudy Gobert, but also KP is going to play FIBA as well. Of course, Jalen Brunson's playing FIBA. RJ Barrett is going to play FIBA. So Knicks don't have a lot to look forward to for Summer League, but late August, early September, a lot of Knicks fans are going to be dialed in to FIBA. Yep. Steve Popper says the one to note on Bruce Brown's signing is what I was told, that guys like he and DiVincenzo have a chance to get paid now and can't pass. So the price on Dante DiVincenzo will be interesting. Yep. And I thought that Bruce Brown had to consider fit in Denver, even if it meant a bargain there until he could get taken care of, Bobby Portis style. But 7.5 million Denver that they could offer versus 2 for 45 in Indiana, you can't pass on that. 100% agree, right? It just don't make life sense. There's basketball sense, but don't make life sense. You can't take 7.5 mil in Denver and pass up on 2 years 45 mil from Indiana. It's only 2 years. Get the bag. You won a championship as well. Yeah, so it looks like we're going to see Jacob Toppin. We're going to see Trevor Keels. We're going to see Jalen Martin. Maybe we'll see Rokas in Summer League. Let's see. Maybe Deuce McBride. I know third-year players don't tend to play Summer League, but I think that would be a good opportunity for Deuce as well. Tobias Harris, man, old head salute. I think Tobias is going to be on the move, but I don't see a fit with the Knicks unless they're moving on from RJ. Tobias Harris got a lot of money owed, although it's expiring soon. So NBA Central is reporting that the Heat and the Cavs are trying to now get a third team involved in a potential Max Strauss sign and trade. So Miami's not trying to lose Max Strauss for nothing. So that's Pat the Rat trying to do some business as well. Like they're gonna be left with egg on their face if they let Gabe Vincent and Max Strauss leave for nothing. Of course, they're trying to get Dame Lillard. They missed out on Bradley Beal. So the Heat are going to get worse if they lose Gabe Vincent, Max Strauss for nothing. So the Heat's trying to clamor on and get a third team involved in a three-way trade, sign and trade. Yep. Some people chiming in on the Pirtle deal saying Mitch isn't overpaid anymore. That's a fact. Um, Bruce Brown cancelling his meeting with the Knicks. That's a joke, but of course, man, he's got the bag. Um, yeah, yeah. So Cleveland, yeah, still hopes to work on a sign and trade to bring Strauss to Cleveland, in addition to bringing back Karis LeVert while adding George's Niang. So look, the LeVert deal is going to be okay in the regular season. He wasn't a very big playoff guy. George's Niang's kind of a solid role player, but it's going to be the Max Strauss deal that really improves Cleveland's shooting. We know how badly they needed some shooting. Um, Isaac Okoro at the wing spot couldn't do nothing as well. Dean Wade, all of those guys, Ricky Rubio, Danny Green, it wasn't enough. Um, so I mentioned, yeah, with the DiVincenzo news, that's likely to happen still once he finishes meeting with some teams. But just getting him in the door is going to be another trade asset. So it ain't like Dante's going to be a potential long term piece. It's get him in the door for the veterans for the mid level, 12.4 mil, and just figure it out after that. Maybe a trade with Toppin and RJ happens in the future, and also the minutes clear up for these guys. Just more versatile guys to have on the floor late in games. Guys that shoot, defend, smart IQ, heady players that have won a championship in college. Um, they all like each other as well. Brunson, Dante, and Hart, best friends from college as well. That's going to keep the locker room tight. You know, more guys who can, I guess, step up if things aren't going right with Julius or with someone else. Just level-headed guys, I think. No nonsense, Villanova. Uh, do I think that's going to be the only move? I would be surprised. I don't think it's just going to be Dante DiVincenzo. I think there's going to be some other things happen. Um, So yeah, the clock is starting on Luca in Dallas, says John Schmelk, friend of the show, with Kyrie Irving staying in Dallas for 3 years now, returning to the Mavs. The Luca kind of clock really is ticking because yeah, we don't know how those two like each other. We don't know how they're going to play together as well. Full season now, Kyrie Irving, Luca. What are our thoughts, fam? The Knicks have their draft pick still. It's top 10 protected. We better hope that they're at least better than the 10th record and the Knicks can get that pick. Um, yeah, our bench is definitely we're getting very very close to the tax level, fam. Which means the next move is the move. It's all in. It's the next move, big move. We're going to be a taxpayer as well. So, yeah, the Knicks got to definitely stay the same or get better. We got to be the fourth seed. We got to get to the third round, Eastern Conference Finals. The team can still improve internally, but we've definitely got a loaded bench now. It's a fact with Quickly, if it's DiVincenzo, and then it's Josh Hart, Obi, Isaiah Hart, Deuce McBride becomes the 11th man now. Um, Also, people have been saying, and this is speculation, but won't be surprised if Ryan Arcidiacono, another Villanova dude who comes back on a veterans minimum, just to just to be a depth signing as well. So yeah, Deuce, teams calling us for Deuce McBride, but the Knicks like Deuce McBride, but if we're not going to play him much and develop him, then that's something where we could look to cash in on his very very cheap contract. Um, yeah, we're going to see Jacob Toppin. I'm looking forward to that in summer league. Very very raw prospect, but good size, 6'9", very very aggressive. Uh, better. I think he's has a better floater game, better touch than Obi around the bucket. Uh, he's a worse shooter, but he's more of a slasher, more fundamentally sound. I think, in parts of the game. A better defender as well. Excellent help defender. Can come in and sky for those blocks. Takes it to the hoop as well. Can hit the open three, but Obi's a better three-point shooter at this point. But Jacob Toppin looks like he's going to be a better two-way prospect in the league. And definitely an NBA rotation player. The only problem is with the Toppins is their age, you know. Jacob Toppin's 23 also. Obi's about to turn 25 or is 25. So, you know, it's kind of crazy. Those dudes will be still on their rookie contracts from 25, 26 years old. But they'll take the athletic abilities, ability to finish around the cup. But yeah, Bruce Brown, big winner in free agency. You play well in the playoffs, and your price tag goes up. The same cannot be said for Emmanuel Quickley. I think Emmanuel Quickley definitely lost himself $20 million in the playoffs, you know. Let's say Quickley came into the playoffs and took his game to the next level and dominated, you know, he'd be, you know, close to being the best sixth man of the year, and then also teams, you know, like Indiana probably spending that kind of money on him. Now he's forced to come back with the Knicks and prove it all over again. I know the injury did not help. Also, so yeah, a lot of money being spent as per usual. We've been 1 hour into free agency, fam. Torian Prince off the board. Malik Beasley is still going to be available. I think the Lakers are going to not going to bring him back. There is rumors that the Knicks obviously have a level of interest in Harden, Damian Lillard, if the price is right. So they'll keep saying that. Leon Rose still wants to get a star in-house, but is the price right? We know Donovan Mitchell's someone in the background, kind of lurking. It's going to be another year or two for that. On the Hoop Collective pod, Brian Windhorst continues to say, with Knicks and Harden, I don't think you can rule the Knicks out. I know it doesn't look and make as much sense. New York might say this might be a way they can inject some talent without it being too expensive. By the way, the Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell trades, those are over for right now. As I talk to league execs, they're starting to use the phrase, the price of acquisition. So yeah, the market's starting to reset, I think. Damian Lillard, I don't think he's going to be too happy with what Portland's done so far. You know, they've kept Jeremy Grant now, $160 million 5-year deal. That's huge. Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp, Anthony Simons. That's a nice young core, but that's not going to get Dame any closer to a chip. So maybe the biggest surprise of this free agency, maybe Damian Lillard ends up on the Heat. I think don't rule out Pat Riley doing something. I mean, they can send them Tyler Hero. They might even include Bam Adebayo. But I think Pat Riley is trying to get Jimmy Butler a second star. That's how he works. Pat Riley's all about stars. He'll never give up. Lost out on Bradley Beal. They're about to lose Max Strauss. Maybe lose Gabe Vincent. It's not looking good for Pat Riley unless he can get that next star in. Kyrie Irving has now committed to Dallas, so no Philly, no Miami for Kyrie Irving. So it's Damian Lillard or bust for the Miami Heat. Losing Max Strauss now. What are they going to do? Obviously, they'll get Tyler Hero healthy back, so that's going to help. So 7 p.m. on the East Coast. So we're still waiting for the next move from Woj, from Shams. It's going to be a long night. Yeah, Darren says Jacob Toppin has better touch than Obi. He does. He's a better defender. I could see why they gave him the two-way spot straight up. You know, he's a guy who's worth developing. He's got the raw athleticism. He's got the frame, the size, but he's incredibly raw still. So we are going to have to develop still Jacob Toppin. He'll continue to play Westchester a lot, but maybe that kind of satisfies the relationships, the fans, the family. If Obi were to be traded, but Jacob Toppin is a guy we develop to be a long-term Knick. Yeah. Yeah, scared money don't make no money. Yep. Appreciate everyone rocking out, man. Streets is buzzing, smashing that like button. An NBA free agency day 1. We'll be streaming live tomorrow night as well, day 2, day 3. This is what we live for. Let's hope that we can make more upgrades, that the price is right if we do bring in a star. The talk is with Karl Anthony Towns is that Minnesota's they're not getting the response that they hope. Teams aren't interested at the moment for the price. So a lot of teams are playing it smart with Minnesota. Let them force the issue. Let them bring it back, and let Karl Anthony Towns' value drop, because there's no need to be dealing with that kind of salary, $60 million in a few years' time. That's crazy. Austin Reeves, Dylan Brooks, Grant Williams, Van Vliet, Brook, Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, Mo Bamba's a free agent as well. And I think Russell Westbrook will go back to the Clippers. Let's see what happens to our beloved D Rose too. D Rose is a free agent. Joe Ingles is another name, Darren, but Joe Ingles is looking like he will commit to Orlando as well, another young team with some upside. Who do you think is going to take the next big leap in the East? There's always going to be a team that drops and a team that comes up. I don't think Chicago is going to make any traction. I think Chicago will stay the same or drop. Obviously, Zach LaVine conversations are still being had. Apparently, the price is still too high for him as well. So there we have it. 2 big names: Karl Towns, Zach LaVine. The price is too high. I think OG Anunoby as well. Masai Ujiri's asking for too much. I think Atlanta might drop as well. I don't think Toronto is going to make any big splash. I could see Orlando and Indiana making a run. Indiana with the growth of Mathurin, Halliburton. Orlando's growth with Wagner, Paolo. I think Detroit might start to be more competitive. Washington's obviously probably going to be the worst team. Washington's going to slump. But yeah, I think overall the East is going to get more competitive. I think teams, even the worst teams in the East, can still pull off some wins. I think Detroit will probably still be really bad. Washington and Detroit. Obviously Boston and Milwaukee up the top. I think Philadelphia is probably going to drop a little bit. They're going to lose Harden. They can't really replace that production as well unless they get a good sign and trade. They better be hoping that they can get a Paul George back. Otherwise, they're going to drop. And maybe Joel Embiid starts to drop. Gabe Vincent, is he headed to the Lakers? Where are they finding all this money? Does that mean D'Lo Russell? So yeah, Gabe Vincent has agreed to a 3-year, $33 million deal with the LA Lakers as well. That's a good deal for both. Salute to Max Strauss, Gabe Vincent getting paid now, right? Pat Riley, you didn't manage the assets. You found undrafted talent. Now you didn't manage it properly. Now you lost them for nothing. So that's what happens. Let that be a lesson. Now, Emmanuel Quickley is coming into restricted free agency. Obi Toppin. Yeah, that's a good 3-year deal, 11 per for Gabe Vincent and the Lakers as well. I don't know where they're finding all this money. Maybe they're letting go of D'Lo. Maybe they're just going to go over the cap to sign him. They're letting go of Malik Beasley, 16 mil, so he's going to be definitely available, and he's a CAA client. Yeah, yeah. NYC, man, the Hawks. I think they're going to fall. I think Trae Young is a top candidate to get traded, fam. Let's see. They can't. They sold John Collins penny on a dollar, and of course they're trying to trade DeAndre Hunter now as well. They're not getting the price that they want. Yeah, if you wait too long, the value drops big time, big time. Yeah, Billy's wanting us to be more patient. Fans never patient, always seeking a savior from somebody else. Yeah, how many times has that worked out? We definitely got very, very good cost-friendly contracts, but the time is coming where we're going to have to consolidate. That's just how it works with asset management now. Yeah, in 2 years, I'm worried about the Jalen Brunson, mega max, super max, as well. By then, it could be interesting though. We might have Donovan Mitchell already. Maybe Julius Randle is coming up and traded also. But at least we've locked in Julius for a cheap deal. In terms of Julius Randle's extension has only just kicked in. So that's, say whatever you want for Julius Randle, but the fact that he's only earning 25 mil and a guy like Jakob Poeltl is earning 20 mil, that a guy like Bruce Brown is earning 22 mil. That I don't really think anyone can complain about Julius's contract. You can complain about his play, complain about his behavior, but it's very, very affordable in this NBA. Yeah. So yeah, Gabe Vincent to the Lakers, Bruce Brown, the big shocks, Draymond Green, Kyrie Irving, Chris Middleton staying on their teams. That's no shock. Kyle Kuzma staying for the bag as well. Austin Reeves. Does a team with money now swoop in for Austin Reeves? Let's see. But man, is LA going all in? They're on LeBron's final run. They're going to be a huge taxpayer up in this thing. I think they're going to try to keep Hachimura. I think Dylan Brooks is going to go to Houston. I think that's a good scenario. Grant Williams will probably find his new team. Christian Wood, Cam Reddish, maybe stay out west. Let's see what happens with the Clippers. There's a lot of smoke with the Clippers. I think they're definitely trying to get Harden. I think let's see tonight. Does the next bomb drop, which is the James Harden trade? There's talk they're willing to part with Tyrese Maxey as well. Christian Wood. Houston's got a lot of cap space. Let's see. Let's see what San Antonio do as well. Trying to put their roster together around Wemby. Yep. Free agency day one. Streets are buzzing right now. The Knicks are in a very unique situation, man. We haven't had a core roster with barely any upheaval for a long time. Marginal signings, but we're waiting for that big shake-up, that trade, possibly this year or next year or the deadline. Fournier's contract is valuable in a trade, 100%. We need to keep Fournier for now until that trade comes because, yeah, that's outgoing salary now. That's why a lot of people thought we should have signed D Rose final year and just used that as salary filler, but we definitely opted out so we could get DiVincenzo because no trade is imminent as of right now. If you guys are expecting a trade, I don't know which direction it's going to come from. Probably most likely with the Clippers or with James Harden or with Damian Lillard. But all reports, the Knicks are not interested in Karl Anthony Towns' asking price. We're not interested in Zach LaVine at this point until Chicago come down off their asking price. So yeah, we kind of got to be a little bit patient. Let's just stay chill. The Jeremy Grant was definitely crazy cash, 160 mil, 5 years. I like Jeremy Grant. He's a nice player, but geesh, talk about on a road to nowhere. That's just spending money for the sake of spending money. Jay Crowder has interest in rejoining the Heat, per Jake Fisher. So the Heat need to do something. They lost Gabe Vincent, about to lose Max Strauss now. What's Jimmy Butler going to do? Money talks, Talk about Heat culture. Well, they just lost two of their big pieces. So, is Jimmy a dude that people like to play with? That's another question. Like, those guys got good roles on the Heat. Went to the NBA Finals, for God's sake. But they'd rather take the bag now on another team. Yep. Yeah, with Quickly and with Obi, old head, the fact is we're waiting for that trade scenario to maximize them as assets. We've got no pressure to re-sign them yet. Let's bring them into the final year and see how they play. We could always do sign and trades in the future as well. And like I said, restricted free agency favors the team with their bird rights. The Knicks just finally operating more patiently in terms of that situation, restricted free agency. We're waiting on the Dante DiVincenzo meetings. Supposedly he was meeting the Knicks first and meeting 3 other teams with the mid-level. But let's see. We have Bam Adebayo shout out Gabe Vincent as well for his new bag. Shout out. What do you guys think about the Lakers now? I mean, this is their chance now. The Lakers definitely with a full season have gone all in. They've gone nuclear. If they've got the shooting, the point guard play of Gabe Vincent, AD, LeBron. Bill Simmons throwing some shade at the Bulls. The Bulls are trying to lock up a play-in appearance for the rest of the decade. They need to bring in Tommy Shepard as a senior advisor. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough with these market teams trying to keep talent. That's the issue of clinging on to dudes for too long, like OG Anunoby, Zach LaVine, Fred VanVleet. Like just sell them for as much assets as possible. Like that's just trying to stay relevant for no reason, right? You need to do what Washington's doing right now, which is completely tear it down and get back into the draft, man. I guarantee to you the San Antonio Spurs will look scary in 3 years from now, right? They got a generational talent that they can build around now with pieces as well. OKC is going to be frightening as well. I won't be surprised if OKC take over the New Orleans Pelicans in terms of like finishing the 6th seed, 7th seed. They made the play in already. They've got so many smart minds, so many young players now. Chet Holmgren is coming back as well. Jalen Williams, Josh Giddey, SGA. Suddenly the Pelicans aren't looking as enticing anymore. You got Zion going through the same ish. Maybe Brandon Ingram asks out soon. The CJ McCollum move never made no sense to me. Yeah, it's crazy with New Orleans, right? Remember, what's his name? Who's running the thing? wanted to throw shade on the Knicks. Now how they're looking right now. They got Zion, and they're still struggling. DeJounte Murray, I liked his name 2 years ago, but I think now we're okay. For me, yeah, I think I'm okay with that move, sitting that out. I really do think Spider Mitchell's a guy who just wants to be a New York Knick. Like the man's all over the place, at Mets games, at Rangers games, Yankees games. He's at New York City events. Yeah, and the Woj updates come with Joe Ingles. So we see on screen Joe Ingles, nice 2-year deal, 22 mil with the Orlando Magic, the Orlando Tragic. Yeah, that's a solid veteran for them. Locker room, injury prone at this point, but can shoot, can play the 3 and the 2 and the 4 as well. Versatile, can play make. But I don't know about that move. Is it necessary? You got Franz Wagner, you got Paolo who can handle it. But I guess that's kind of the mid-level. So yeah, that's a very good bag for a 36-year-old Joe Ingles, I think. Yeah, DiVincenzo's an all-round guy. He's not gonna kind of wow you. He's not flashy, but I mean, he can look flashy sometimes. But yeah, he just plays the right way. He's smart. He's gonna fit in really well. I think. Yeah, the Knicks. It's gonna be an underrated signing. I think with DiVincenzo, just another guy who can play late in games, in the playoffs, regular season. Um, I think yeah, the fans will like DiVincenzo. I just hopefully he stays healthy. Um, let's see. Like I said, it's another trade asset as well. So I'm not looking at the DiVincenzo thing like it's going to be a really long-term fit. But yeah, we sign him. We have Quickly. We have Obi, RJ. We could put together a very good package with Evan Fournier salary too for the next guy. Uh, there's still a speculation the Knicks would be interested in Damian Lillard, James Harden. I think let's see, but I don't know the fit. Um, one thing's for sure, we could see a move at the deadline. I know fans want the Knicks to make a trade right now in the off season, but there's pros and cons. If we go into the season, we get to see how things look. Maybe we can make a splash at the deadline as well. So Leon Rose ain't against making a deadline move, as we saw with Josh Hart, we saw with Derrick Rose. He likes to assess how the season's going. Let's say if RJ Barrett doesn't take the next level that they want, he could be out the door. Let's say if Emmanuel Quickly's place is hot and his trade value is hot, that could be the right time to trade as well. So your deadline deals could be better than summer deals sometimes as well. Yeah, I don't, understand with fans seeing all these teams make moves. It's annoying also, but the Knicks are in a different situation than what they've been in a minute. We got basically the same rotation coming back. Shams reporting that Watanabe is agreeing with the Phoenix Suns, so they're stacking up some depth as well. That's a solid move. No number reported yet. But yeah, is Austin Reeves as good as gone? With Gabe Vincent agreeing on a 3-year, $33 million deal. That's a great deal for them, but they can't afford to lose Austin Reeves' production as well. But is that a sign that they've pivoted? Has the New York Knicks or someone else swooped in for an Austin Reeves? What do you guys think? Um, who has cap space? The Houston Rockets have cap space as well. As Darren's been putting out, we have Dylan Brooks. We still have a lot of dominoes to fall. We have Austin Reeves. We have Dylan Brooks, Grant Williams, Lopez still, Hashimura, Christian Wood, D'Lo. Yep. Bumba, others as well. So, yep. A lot of teams using up money. The Knicks still have their 12.4 milli. We could split it on 2 players. We could make a trade. We could sign one guy. Yep. So a Lakers lineup, if they re-sign their restricted free agents, would be Gabe Vincent, Austin Reeves, Hashimura, LeBron, and AD. That's a solid starting unit. Yeah. Yeah, Austin Reeves would be great with this young core as well, but I don't know how Tibbs would use him. I think I could see him staying out west. The Clippers, maybe they make a trade, sign and trade. Maybe it could be for Mook Morris. The Clippers are a fascinating situation. They have not made anything yet. What's his name? Reggie Jackson's going back to the Nuggets. Of course, Bruce Brown, Indiana are going to improve, but I'm not worried about Indiana just yet. They're going to be around the play-in situation. A CAA client, Woj reporting, Shake Milton. Shake Milton has agreed to a deal with Minnesota. That's solid. They need a guy like that. So that's a nice move. I was sort of wondering if the Knicks would dabble in the Shake Milton business, but I think at this point the Knicks are stacked right now. We're stacked. You know, we got to consolidate with this situation. I think we're still the fourth, fifth best team in the East. We could be the third or second best team if Philadelphia stumble, if Miami stumble as well. Jock Landale, another role-playing center, is available who can shoot some. Phoenix have pulled his qualifying offer. So yeah, Shake Milton's deal is 2 years, 10 mil. So that's like the mid-level split in half. That's solid. 2 years, 10 mil for Shake Milton. Of course, we don't really need more help off the bench with Quickly, with Hart, with DiVincenzo as well. But yeah, Philadelphia just got worse. That's something to consider also. Philadelphia getting worse. Going to lose James Harden, losing Shake Milton, lost Georges Niang. Yeah, a lot of teams like Philadelphia, Miami losing role players left, right, and center as well. What's going to happen? Tobias Harris could be on the move too for a trade. Let's see. Let's see, man. I feel like a bomb could be coming. There's a lot of teams still quiet. It's going to be a long night. We refresh, keep the buzz coming. We'll be on live tomorrow, day 2, day 3. Let's go. So yeah, Cleveland improved slightly from today. I think Indiana improved slightly. Not enough to worry me though, but teams like Miami, the Sixers could be getting worse. Milwaukee doubled down. Are they going anywhere? Keeping the team intact with Middleton re-upping. Drew Holiday's getting older, but if Milwaukee lose Brook Lopez, that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge for them. Yeah. A guy like a Jock Landale could be good for Milwaukee. The Orlando Magic spending 22 mil on Joe Ingles over 2 years. So that's an interesting move. I think the Phoenix Suns have done solid, trying to stack up role players with guys like Watanabe. Washington's going to be bad. They're keeping Kuzma. They've got Jordan Poole. They've got Tyus Jones, but I think they're going to be playing that play-in lottery situation, rebuilding, tearing it down. Yep. So Shake Milton's found a new home. Let's go. I know the Knicks name is used in leverage talks a lot, like Damian Lillard, James Harden. I'll believe it when I see it. I just don't feel like they're Leon Rose kind of moves. But yet we continue to hear these reporters mention the Knicks, in James Harden and Damian Lillard's speculation. But I just don't see the fit at this point. Obviously, it's all about the price, but James Harden would probably fit slightly better than a Damian Lillard. Like, what kind of backcourt are you going to have with Lillard and JB? That's going to be crazy. That's going to be bucket getting, but also bucket giving up. Yeah, it's Hashimura. What's good, NYC? If I'm the GM, which one player would I add? That's an easy one, man. Giannis. I'd swap out Julius Randle for Giannis, but no. You mean sort of? I'm going to assume you mean kind of realistically now. Who's available? I like the OG Anunoby fit if that's something that can get done. Paul George can get done for kind of a 2-year run. I just don't really see a clear home run at this point, man. I mean, a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander would be a dream move. If you're talking about a player to give up everything for, a player not even in their prime yet. Pair Jalen Brunson up with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I couldn't maybe think of a better backcourt partner in the entire league. Brandon Ingram at the 3. Brandon Ingram would be another guy if we could pair between our Brunson and Randall. Yeah, Paul George, Brandon Ingram. Obviously, your Devin Bookers, your Giannis's of the pipe dream. Joel Embiid. I would swap Mitch for Joel Embiid too. But I think maybe keeping things realistic. It may not be realistic, but yeah, Shea Gilgeous for me. I don't see Devin Booker going anywhere now. But let's see what happens with OKC. They're really gonna have to start paying these other guys. They're paying SGA right now, but when's the time gonna come when they're gonna have to pay the next guy? Josh Giddey is gonna be eligible soon. Is Sam Presti ready to try to go win now? Or is he happy to just trade SGA for a boatload of picks again and young players as well? Who's your dude? Let me know. I just love a two-way player that's a stud on both sides. Like, I think basically like a Kawhi Leonard in his prime wing. Unfortunately, yeah, it's the old guard coming to an end now with KD, those kind of guys, Steph Curry coming towards the back end of their careers now. It's the Devin Bookers, the SGAs, Ja Morants that are taking over now. I'll be interested to know how strong the next draft is too. This was the Wemby generational draft supposedly, but 2024 class is going to be interesting. The Knicks could have the 10th overall selection, maybe the 11th overall selection, if the Dallas Mavericks are outside of the top 10. Kyrie Irving back, but I tell you what, man, I would not put that as a guarantee. Like with the way the West is, yeah, the Dallas Mavericks are no lock to be good. They're a Kyrie Irving injury away from being in the bottom 10 again. Yeah, you like SGA too, man. Yeah, facts. But out of who's available right now, yeah. I mean, I could live with the Levine and the Paul George moves. I'll make it simple. Out of pretty who's gettable, I think I think both teams are wings. They just address what we need, which is a wing. Paul George is a better fit defensively. And I just don't think Paul George has to carry the load. With Brunson here, with Randall, assumedly, I think he would have to carry less of a load than he did in LA. I think Kawhi never plays regular season games. There's a lot of pressure on Paul George at times to carry the offense with the Clippers. And I don't think that'd be the case with the Knicks. With great regular season guys like Brunson and Randall, we could keep Paul George healthy for the playoffs. We could make sure that he's ready to go in the playoffs. Play him 30 minutes a night, regular season, all of that stuff. Zach LaVine, I also have more injury concerns, believe it or not. I know he's younger, but I feel like Zach LaVine's kind of brittle. I think he's more injury prone. With Paul George, I just think it's more age. With Zach LaVine, I think he's just genuinely injury prone. What's good, Eddie? That big move could be you feel like it's Zion. Now his price is going down. I think that's definitely something that the Knicks are monitoring. I think with all the off-court stuff and on-court as well. But could Brandon Ingram be the next guy to request the trade? Think about 3 years ago, the Pelicans were supposed to be the next sexy destination. They went in for CJ McCollum, a few good draft picks, Trey Murphy, all of those, Herb Jones. But we keep forgetting, man, the West is the West. You could be passed in the blink of an eye. Look at OKC. I won't be surprised if San Antonio is better than the Pelicans in 2 years, if they're forced to blow it up. So that just lets you know. The West is no joke. I think the Thunder, the Grizzlies, the Sacramento Kings are the next powers of the West. Obviously, Denver Nuggets ain't going nowhere, and the Lakers are trying to make their final runs. I think the sun's going to start to set on the Golden State Warriors too. They're trying to go all in late for a desperation final championship run. What's good, Glenn? Seems like we ain't doing anything yet since like draft day. It's still early, day one of free agency. I feel like the DiVincenzo move is in the bag, but in terms of the next move, it's going to be a trade because the Knicks do not have any more roster or salary cap space. So trades are more tricky. So let me just pop this open. We've got a update from Stefan Bondi of the New York Daily News on DiVincenzo. So he's scheduled for 4 meetings now in free agency, so which could turn into Saturday. The Knicks are still considered front runners for DiVincenzo, who won an NCAA title next to Jalen Brunson. Who are these other teams he's supposed to meet with? I think they're unconfirmed yet, but I'll do some research by tomorrow's show. I'll find out if we don't already know yet which other teams still have the mid-level. I think that's the price. Now, if you guys want a prediction, like if I just had to predict what this Knicks team looks like in 1 year, I could see it being I could see it being a Zion and a Karl Towns. I could see it being Zion and Embiid. I could see it being Donovan Mitchell and Karl Anthony Towns. Some kind of combination of that. I think if and when Leon Rose has finally gone all in, I think it's going to be a mixture of maybe some of those guys. I think probably Donovan Mitchell at the top. I just don't think, and Windhorst confirmed he's not going to sign an extension with Cleveland. Like he's never been a free agent in his life. I think Donovan Mitchell is definitely going to explore free agency. So I think Leon Rose knows this. He's planning for that with tradable pieces. Also, Devin Booker was the dream, but he's staying now. I really think that Philly situation's in flux. I think Everything I've heard is Joel Embiid, it's still outrageous, but he has a great relationship with Randall. He has a great relationship with Jalen Brunson as well. So I think that combination would be ideal, although he's injury concerns as well. But Paul George has a great relationship with Julius Randle, as we've seen, is CAA repped also. So, yeah, I've been beating this drum for a minute, but look no further than the CAA tree. I think out of Cat, MB, Donovan Mitchell, some of these guys, I don't see a Zach LaVine thing being very likely. You know, I don't know about the OG situation just because I know he's CAA, but he needs to be traded, and Masai Ujiri is not going to deal in good faith, I don't think. Reports are he's frustrating other executives also. He's probably asking for 3 unprotected picks for OG Anunoby, which is straight ridiculous. Yeah, Glenn, with that situation with Mini, I think it's just a wait and see because the price will come down. I think the league is not engaging Minnesota the way Minnesota would like. Let's keep it a buck. Minnesota would love to trade Karl Anthony Towns for the right price, but from everything we're hearing, they're not getting the price that they hope. So I think they're going to bring it back. They're going to see what Rudy and Cat look like. Now, if Cat can't stay healthy for another second season in a row, is going to be more concerns for Minnesota. No news, no new update from Woj. Yeah, I completely agree with what Eddie's saying. Yeah, I've been saying this for a minute. I think Cleveland got too smart for their own good. They thought, oh, we're a small market team, let's pounce. But I think they went in, truthfully, I think they went in 1 year too soon. They tried to speed up their timeline, which was not correct. Their depth sucked. Evan Mobley was not where they wanted him to be yet. Jarrett Allen was not the kind of player they thought he was yet. And Isaac Okoro was found out in the playoffs as well. So, and of course, like we know, Spider and Garland are too small, are too small of a backcourt. So yeah, I really think Cleveland is screwed. Really, they're going to be the new Atlanta. They kind of thought they were sitting pretty, but sometimes you just got to rip the Band-Aid off. If you realize you made a mistake, then correct it real quick. Minnesota kind of missing out on that situation with Rudy Gobert and Cat, and Cleveland's going to be the next team if they don't wake up and smell the roses that Donovan Mitchell is going to explore free agency. Then they better wake up soon. They better trade him, try to recoup some picks and players. If they could get RJ in a couple of picks, or if they could get Emmanuel Quickly, Obi in a few picks from Spider, I think they should end up doing that, because if that's available, I don't know if there's going to be any other moves, because everyone, the kind of league knows Donovan Mitchell wants to heavily consider the Knicks when he's a free agent as well. Buzzer, I think we're in contention with the getting involved in a Harden trade, but I don't know if it's to get Harden. I think it might be a 3-way. Like, for example, Harden goes to the Clippers, maybe Paul George to the Knicks, and both teams send pieces and picks to Philly. Let's see. But one speculation is that Tobias Harris is also on the move as well. He's not happy with his camp's not happy with his role. Update from Jake Fisher on Brook Lopez. His decision is definitely one of the largest dominoes that teams are waiting on. There was increasing word today that Houston's offer could exceed 2 years, 40 mil. That's been widely rumored in recent days. So, man, that reminds me of a Chicago Bulls kind of move, Houston Rockets are rebuilding, but they're going to spend $40 million on an old Brook Lopez. That's kind of crazy. Past his prime as well. Yep. Ariel Helwani saying Heat culture in shambles at the moment. Hate to see it. Copies in Dan Lebitard. The Heat stan as well. Yeah, I like that. I like that, man. Things you love to see. The Heat in shambles right now. But of course, Pat Riley will find a way to do something. He'll find a way to get in the James Harden thing. He might find a way to trade Bam. He might find a way to trade for Damian Lillard. But they've suffered a blow, losing Max Strauss, Gabe Vincent as well. The Eastern Conference finalists losing two huge pieces. Now, what's that going to do for the Heat? You know, I mean, the Heat finished 7th. The Knicks finished 5th. On regular season paper, the Knicks are still a better team. I know Jimmy Butler, Heat culture is still there, but I think if the Knicks were healthy, the Knicks won game 1, the Knicks nearly won game 6. Julius Randle on one ankle. Jalen Brunson also banged up. Jimmy Butler, right? One could assume Jimmy Butler cannot continue to do what he's doing. He'll be 34 years of age, I think, or more, with high usage as well. So that's going to be insane to see what happens with the Heat. I won't be surprised if a team like Orlando comes up, Indiana, all of that. Yep, no new updates from Woj. So we continue to shout you out. Streets is buzzing. Free agency day 1. A lot of movement so far. I'm looking at the Pacers in Indiana. Indiana and the Knicks with terms of Obi. Maybe the Knicks don't want to get done for tampering, so they're letting this DiVincenzo thing kind of play out. Knowing the NBA, if DiVincenzo was announced on 6 p.m. Eastern, there would have been an investigation, probably in the Villanova CAA connections. You know, so they're letting DiVincenzo meet with 3 other teams, but I will be shocked if the Knicks lose out. So I think, where does that leave the Knicks with 10-man rotation? Deuce McBride misses out, I think, at this point. I think Obi's still in the rotation, but if Obi gets traded, then we go back to the 9-man rotation. I think if they do trade Obi, it's probably for a fringe roster talent that we can develop and draft picks. I don't know if it's either that or it's going to be in a huge blockbuster for Obi Toppin's salary also as an asset. But yeah, Cavs getting Max Strauss is huge. The Lakers getting Gabe Vincent is huge, and the Pacers getting Bruce Brown is big. Austin Reeves still available. Malik Beasley available. I think the Taurean Prince move was real clever as well. Yep. See, the good thing about Reeves is he can handle the rock. He can initiate the offense, so that anything to take more pressure off Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, right? We don't need those players with the ball all the time. If RJ Barrett's on this roster, I would like him to handle the rock more, even with the bench. If obviously Quentin Grimes is still here, I want Quentin Grimes to have more usage, more offense, more shots as well. I don't want to wear Jalen Brunson down or Julius Randle, right? Like we said in the playoffs, fam, the Knicks were that close to beating Miami if those two are healthy. That's all it was. It came down to health. I know Jimmy was banged up too. I know Bam was probably banged up. Mitch was definitely banged up. But I really think, yeah, it came down to health. So Tom Thibodeau really got to utilize some more of these depth signings. Does Deuce McBride take another leap in his 3rd year? I think Quentin Grimes should take another leap. that guy used to be a point guard growing up, so he can definitely handle some ball. RJ Barrett too. Um, but like fans know, we need a wing with more size too. Um, yeah, I know. Yeah, DiVincenzo and Josh Hart can play bigger than what they are. So I think that looks like the avenue this team's going. You know, no OG, no Brandon Ingram, maybe no Paul George kind of thing. So we're coming back with another undersized wing. Uh, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Reeves now with LA committing money to Gabe Vincent. Do they let D'Lo walk? The Lakers still have interest in signing D'Lo, but he's looking for 20 mil. Um, Bobby Marks puts the Lakers' projected numbers. Key free agents, Reeves, Hashimura, and D'Lo. Reeves' number would come in at 12 mil, even if you received an offer sheet. The Lakers are hard capped at the first apron. Yep. Yep, we need some floor spacing, 100%. Look, if RJ Barrett can get his 3-point shooting up to 36 to 38%, would be a big win. Quentin Grimes can be consistent. We know Josh Hart's shooting isn't relied on, isn't needed, but Dante DiVincenzo can shoot it some as well. So does Emmanuel quickly place more minutes with the starters as well? Yep. Obviously, the spacing at the 5 spot is critical. I do think Mitchell Robinson's contract is just too good to consider trading yet, unless it's for a star like Cat or Embiid. We're not sending Mitch out unless it's to bring in another center, I think, that can stretch it. That's just my thoughts. Brook Lopez looking like he'll join Houston for 2 years, 40 mil. We're just waiting on that situation. I really want Zion to be healthy, to be big in this league, but it's just hard to see what's happening with him. And it's been like, what, 4 years of Zion wondering if he can stay on the court. I think he's a year or two away from just losing all of his value if he can't stay healthy. Karl Anthony Towns also another player that needs to stay healthy. So we have the next big deal coming up on screen is Herb Jones, ladies and gentlemen, re-upping with the Pels for a new 4-year, 54 milli deal to stay. So that's solid. 4 years, 54 mil for Herb Jones, right? Pelicans needed to retain him, keep that spacing, keep the shooting. They might lose Brandon Ingram at some point. Zion doesn't stretch the floor. So, Herb Jones, what do you think of that deal? I think that's a pretty solid number considering Gabe Vincent is getting 11 mil. Bruce Brown's getting 22 mil. Jeremy Grant's getting 160 mil over 5. So yeah, that's a big deal for the Pelicans to keep Herb Jones. Talks is they're putting Kira Lewis on the block. Trey Murphy III is locked up still, I think, on a rookie deal. But yeah, the story for me so far is the East. A couple of teams got better, a couple of teams are getting worse. So the Knicks are right where they are. I don't think we're losing any ground. The Heat have gotten worse. The Cavs have got slightly better, and Indiana have got slightly better. I think Orlando will get better, but I think Philadelphia is. We await, see what happens there, man. If James Harden gets moved, they better get some kind of value back. Tyrese Maxey is also extension eligible, like quickly. Tobias Harris wants a new home. What's good, Geraldine? What happened to the guy that played with Hart and JB? Dante DiVincenzo. He's meeting with 3 other teams and the Knicks. I think it's going to be announced probably by tomorrow. I think. Also, another reason that's holding up these signings and announcements is trades as well. The Knicks, best believe, are still in trade discussions with some of these players, with these stars. I think we're just waiting for any players going out, any players coming in before the DiVincenzo thing becomes legit. But the Knicks could always do with more two-way players. He's undersized, but he's got skills. $12 million is a solid number. He's a trade asset we can use in the future as well. So, yeah, we could do a lot worse than DiVincenzo. Austin Reeves is still out there as well, which is interesting. What's good, Cairo? Yeah, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. I do confuse some of them as well with New Orleans, but Jones is the versatile defensive ace. Yep. Trey Murphy is the sharpshooter. Yeah, appreciate you. But yeah, I commented on the Pelicans earlier. I think I won't be surprised if the OKC overtake them soon. I won't be surprised if these other teams coming up. Sacramento obviously great now. Denver is going to be great. They just they just put a lot of eggs in the Brandon Ingram, Zion, and CJ basket. Just hasn't worked out. Jonas Valanciunas is on the block as well. Obviously, it's all connected to Zion. He just has to stay healthy. The West, the NBA has not seen what the Pelicans can look like. Keith comments on Grimes, not as good of a shooter in my opinion. That 2 spot definitely needed an upgrade. I think for championship aspirations, I think that's what Leon's thinking as well. Whether it's Booker, Levine, someone at the 2 who's bona fide. But I think they're happy with Grimes coming along, expecting him to take another leap. But I agree in terms of Grimes has to be more consistent. I think he's at the end of the day, he was a late first round pick. So he may not become that all-star that we hope. But he could be a guy like a very, very reliable guy in the playoffs, like a Max Strauss was for the Heat. Kind of just that guy that's healthy and can shoot well. But luckily, he's still on the rookie contract. Incredible value. I'm just looking for a big year for Grimes. You got to be healthy and you got to be consistent. You got to shoot. Also, yeah, fans want Grimes to take more shots. Like that's another issue. Brunson ISO heavy, Randall ISO heavy. We got to get the ball moving. Regular season's regular season, but playoffs is different. Teams can game plan on you as well. So yeah, I think Detroit, Washington will be some of the worst teams in the East. I won't be surprised if Chicago's there as well. No Lonzo. Levine might get moved. So, but I think the East will be fairly competitive with. I think Atlanta might dip, but I think Orlando and Indiana with Bruce Brown, Mathurin, Halliburton, their draft picks. I think Miles Turner could still be a target of Leon Rose, Very, very close to Julius Randle. Boys from Dallas. Is CAA repped? I think Miles Turner connection with the Knicks might still come at some point. But everything I've heard from the Pacers team is that they're trying to make the playoffs this year. They're trying to be competitive now. As is Orlando. Orlando is going to be solid too. Maybe Detroit takes a bigger jump than I expect, but I still don't think they're competitive enough. I think Cade still needs to take another leap. Jaden Ivey still quite raw at this point. Salute Glenn, what's up? Zion hasn't played in even half a season for 4 years. His contract is ridiculous. Imagine if the Knicks had drafted him, people would be killing the Knicks. But nobody's saying anything about New Orleans yet. You could kind of get away with that in a small market. 100%. Yeah, facts. Big year for Zion. Big year, especially with all the off-court ish. But the talent's there. We can never question the talent. Never question the potential that Zion has. But potential's running out. Time's running out. As you know, the older you get, the healthier you don't get. But look, if we could get Zion on a buy low deal, it's a risk worth taking if it's buy low. But yeah, I'm just really curious to know how invested in Julius Randle this team is in terms of like if that next star power forward becomes available, or the next stud that fits around. In terms of fits around Randle, then they might want to keep Randle long term. So Jake Fisher saying now the Spurs are the team to monitor in the developing new three-team sign and trade that could bring Max Strus to Cleveland. The Cavaliers have been trying to find a trade for Cedi Osman this week. What are you guys' thoughts on maybe getting involved, taking a Cedi Osman? He's 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", got more size than DiVincenzo, but Cedi Osman didn't show up in the playoffs. So I liked Cedi Osman 2 years ago. But yeah, I think DiVincenzo is a better player at this point. Old friend Frank Ntilikina is still a free agent. Also, it's interesting to note he is CAA repped by Leon Rose's son. But yeah, the Blazers went all in with Jeremy Grant. I don't know if we're going to hear a Dame Lillard trade request anytime soon after they just smashed down 160 mil to keep him happy. Yeah, I think it's just a big year for Grimes. I think coming into the third year, you want to be a starting shooting guard in the NBA. You have to play like it. Potential is one thing, but I like what Quentin Grimes gives us. I think he could be the Knicks starting two for the future, but he just might not be an all-star. He might be close to that or below that, but he could still be a starting two guard. We really need his two-way defense. His defense in the playoffs, I've got to give it up to Quentin Grimes. Like the times he locked down Jimmy Butler, he was hurt. Don't forget. Also coming into the playoffs, he had the ankle. Yeah, a lot of people might be surprised by Quentin Grimes this year. Jay Dragon with maybe comment of the night. As a 60-year Knick fan, I have at times almost given up hope. But if James Harden comes to the Knicks, that will be the proverbial straw. Man. Let's hope it's three-way interest, but I don't think James Harden ends up on the Knicks. I just don't. If it does, I think it'll probably be Worldwide West being the one trying to push for that, or maybe even Tom Thibodeau. Okay, so we have some news now from on the Heat front. Shams reporting Josh Richardson, Jay Rich, has agreed to a 2-year deal with the Miami Heat. Sources tell The Athletic. So back to his former team, the Heat pivot quickly after losing a few guys. They get Josh Richardson now, which is, he's okay. He's going to help them a little bit with depth, but I don't think he's as good as Max Strauss or Vincent. Back in Miami, yep, Darren. What are your thoughts on Josh Richardson to the Heat? That's not doing anything, I don't think. It'd be very old school Knicks to get like a Harden past his prime, like a Steve Francis we got, other dudes we got, but I do think a Paul George is a risk worth taking more than James Harden, I think. So that's the big domino to come, fam. The LA Clippers. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? Um, yeah. Look, one thing you could say about Harden is the shooting. You know, still one of the best perimeter shooters in the NBA in terms of shooting from deep, off the dribble, step back. Is an elite passer as well. You've got to give him that. James Harden can pass the rock. He can get you 10 assists in his sleep. Obviously, D'Antoni version of James Harden was one of the most dynamic players we've ever seen. But, D'Antoni can do that. But we know he's a turnstile on defense, right? How's that going to work next to Jalen Brunson? That's just going to be chaos. He's also one of the best actors. I think he's cleaned that part up of his game, to be honest. I think Trae Young acts up also, but Joel Embiid has got to be the biggest joker in terms of acting. Yeah, timeline's a big thing too, fam. The Knicks are closer than we think, but do we really want to reduce our window by like 2 years? If you bring in a Harden, you've got a hard 2 years to try to do something. One thing I'm watching for, I'll tell you why the Harden thing's huge, because it affects the Knicks no matter what. If he goes to the Clippers, what happens with Paul George? But if he leaves the Sixers, that affects the Knicks as well. With Embiid, it affects the Knicks in the division. It affects the Knicks in the East. So the James Harden thing, even if he doesn't come to the Knicks, it's going to affect the Knicks. That's the next big domino. Kyrie's already committed. It's Damian Lillard. What happens? Looks like he's staying. But it's the James Harden trade now. What happens? Daryl Morey, there's loyalty now to a certain degree, but those two have turned their back on each other now. Reports are Harden's ticked off. He took a pay cut to help Morey try to build a contender around him and Embiid. They fell short. And now James Harden's not happy that Daryl Morey didn't come with the bag with a long-term deal. So we know Steve Ballmer is all about paying injury-prone old heads like Kawhi and PG. I think it's a match made in heaven. So we're just waiting. I can expect James Harden to be a Clipper any minute. Do you guys see him going anywhere else but the Clippers? I don't. There's interest from the Knicks, but I don't think it's as big as it is with the Clippers, as Woj just said. Yep, talking about the Zion Randall debate. I just think everything this organization's done so far has doubled down on Randall. I don't think, I guess similar to Cat, we're not getting the same level of interest from teams, and his high production on a cheaper contract. Yep. Yep, as Darren says, yeah, the Spurs are the one to watch for Jetty Osman. Mark Jones says the Celtics are showing strong interest in free agent Terrence Davis of the Kings. That's interesting. Keita Bates, D-Ops off the board. The Cavs are about $14 million away from the luxury tax, have about roughly $4 million of the MLE remaining. Okay, so after the Georges Niang, Karis LeVert deals, they have roughly $4 million of the MLE remaining, and they're trying to find a trade for Jetty Osman as well. It'd be funny if Cleveland swooped in for Dante DiVincenzo and potentially stole him from the Knicks, but I don't see that happening. I don't see him spurning the Villanova gang for similar money. I think we're just waiting on the DiVincenzo Knicks news, because I think it involves the Knicks trying to work out some trades as well. So I think it's 50-50. We might hear DiVincenzo commitment tonight, or we might hear it tomorrow. So don't sweat it. I think he's taken his time meeting with some teams, but I think DiVincenzo is going to be a Knick. I think the Knicks are just talking in trades right now as well. So what time is it on the East Coast right now? We're 8:30 almost, so plenty of hours to go, late into the night. Yeah, I think Zion would love to be in New York. A lot of players still would love to. I think Paul George's next destination, if he wasn't on the Clippers, would be to play with Julius and the Knicks also. So yeah, the Knicks are becoming more attractive. Who cares about Levine and his agent? I think, honestly, I like Levine. I just feel like there's better fits at the moment for his salary. I know he's a dynamic offensive player, but I just think between Brunson handling the ball, between Randall, between Grimes taking a big leap, RJ Barrett, I think he's less of the need is Zach LaVine. I think we needed a more player like Paul George, who's 6'9" and 6'8" and can defend. A Zach LaVine, Brunson backcourt worries me a lot. It worries me a lot as well. So look, with DiVincenzo, we get more shooting. We get a dude who can shoot, be in the playoffs late, finish games out, handle the ball as well, relieve some pressure off these guys, and I like the fit. It's just unfortunately he's undersized a little bit for the wing, but I think they've made their decision with Josh Hart. You know they're going to commit the long-term extension. Yeah, I think that is the case, Eddie. RJ Barrett would probably be likely to go because we need salary in a Paul George trade, and the fit with Paul George next to Randall would fit better as well. Those two guys, obviously, we saw have chemistry, but I just think it's more a reflection of the front office. You know, they didn't draft RJ. Leon Rose would be okay parting with him in the Donovan Mitchell deal. He's not a CAA player either, if that matters at all. But I think, yeah, RJ Barrett's value went up in the league as well. Now, Boston got slightly better with KP, but like I said earlier, I don't think the fit with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum is as good as people think it is. It's no shot creation. I mean, in terms of point guard play, losing Marcus Smart. I think they need a proper point guard. And the fact is, those two just take their turns shooting, isolating as well. No news yet on Miles Bridges, fam, outside of the Charlotte Hornets extending him a qualifying offer, making him restricted free agent. But obviously, yeah, Bruce Brown getting paid like getting Miles Bridges kind of money, 22 million. Um, yeah, so yeah, some fans frustrated with the DiVincenzo thing. They want us to make a bigger move. Um, honestly, yeah, it's tough to see what's out there. I'm not a fan of Levine. I'm not a fan of the Cat move. And I know the Paul George move comes with risks. Zion comes with risks. Um, it's we wait. I think, like I said, the realistic thing is probably Donovan Mitchell in terms of what I feel most confident. Um, but that's a little while away. Um, yeah, RJ and Randall's fit is clunky. Most def. Yep. Um, shooting is the big concern with this team. Ball handling, creation, and shooting hurt us in the playoffs. But like I said, I don't think the Knicks have to make that big splash right at this point. I think the East is pretty open. Um, if we get better with our depth, we see what happens at the trade deadline as well. Rather than make one of these moves that can hamper us for a long term, playing $40 million to Levine or $60 million to Cat, guys that may not move the needle, is going to put us in a worse position, I feel, as well. We're very, very flexible with $20 million contracts of RJ Barrett, Randall as well. Young players like Grimes and Quickly, RJ Barrett tradable, all of the first round selections as well. But I do admit the Knicks have to decide soon. They have to make their all-in move. They have to decide. Um, the Philly thing is just a big domino. The Philly situation with Harden, what happens with Embiid out there. You got Tobias Harris expiring, all of those things. Does a guy like Jimmy Butler end up getting fed up in Miami, and force a trade in the coming year or two? I know he's past his prime as well, but he would fit alongside other all-stars as well, so he's not carrying the load. So if you are going to go for an overage star like a Paul George or a Jimmy Butler, a guy like Jimmy Butler might be more feasible if he does become available. Damian Lillard isn't somebody who I would entertain. I think we have our point guard already. I sit that one out. Let Dame cook somewhere else. Let him stay out west, or let him go to Portland, stay in Portland. That kind of thing. Yeah, like I said, I think Jalen Brunson can go to another level. Julius Randle just needs to stay healthy. And we see what happens with the wing spot. If Quentin Grimes takes a leap, RJ Barrett takes a leap, things become more easier. If they don't take a leap, then we need to package and trade some picks and get a wing. Get that wing. Eddie says, I'm good with running it back. We just need Tibbs to expand the young players' roles on the team. I think it's a double-edged sword because I'm good with running it back for the regular season and feeling confident that we're a great team and we're a 50-plus win team. What worries me is, getting it done in the playoffs and, when teams can scheme and other guys elevate, like Jimmy Butler. Do we have a player who's going to elevate outside of Jalen Brunson as well? So does Julius Randle just turn into a pumpkin in the playoffs again and again? But regular season wise, I'm confident running it back. I think we'll be a 50-plus win team with Hart, with DiVincenzo, especially But yeah, my concern is in the playoffs. We need one more bucket getter when the going gets tough. Which is why I still think of Paul George. If you can keep him healthy for regular season and bring him in for playoff P, come in and do some stuff. There's a reason why Jimmy Butler is so valuable. He can turn it on in the regular season as well. Um, I'm I'm not as low on Karl Anthony Towns as some people. It's mainly the salary. I know he's soft and there's concerns, but if he's one of three other all stars on the team like Randall and Brunson, I think it's a better situation than Minnesota. I don't think we would rely on Karl Anthony Towns to carry us. Defensively, it'd be a worry. But it's mainly the salary. Like I just don't want to be paying Karl Anthony Towns $60 million in 2-3 years from now. That's going to be difficult. So yeah, I could understand. I know the Levine situation seems to be the more plausible one. The Bulls continue to ask for a lot. Considering Grimes and RJ can take that next leap, we don't know. I'd be willing to sit that one out. Just wait. We could always trade for Levine at the deadline if it comes to that. I don't think he's getting traded to no one else anytime soon. I mean, no one can match that salary or trade package yet that's ready to go all in. I think the Bulls are just backing themselves into a corner with Levine. But yeah, like I said, frustration could be there, but if there's no move that's going to put us in over the top, then is it worth doing right now? Why not just wait? Yep, Cat. Yep, different opinions on Cat. The skill set's amazing. Such a skilled big. Um, Also, maybe a change of scenery just does him really well. That could be true. Being something to be stuck in Minnesota, trying to carry that team is difficult. If you're playing next to a guy like Jalen Brunson and Randall, like I said, they'll elevate Cat's game because they draw attention, right? Jalen Brunson draws a double team, and Julius Randle can command a double team. So that would help Cat out. I don't think anyone on Minnesota outside of Anthony Edwards is going to draw a double team. But yeah, it comes down to what are we giving up? We parting with all our picks and draft picks, young players and RJ, and for a Karl Towns, it's a no. So yeah, the Knicks could be facilitating the Harden move to the Clippers. Let's see. It's a big deal, let me tell you. That's why I think we haven't heard anything just yet. But that bomb's coming. Best believe that. Yep, that's a breakup. Philly and Harden. That's going to happen. Most likely to the Clippers. Let's see. I don't know how they're going to fit Paul George, Kawhi, and Harden all together. It's going to be interesting. And the defense gets worse. Another guy who needs the ball, but he's going to carry the load scoring. So maybe you don't rely on Kawhi over the regular season as much, Kawhi Leonard, good for 50 games regular season. Paul George, good for 60 games. Yeah, look, in this CBA, that's pivotal, what Eddie says, in terms of the cost. If you've got a 50 mil guy on your books, he better be a guy who shows up in the playoffs. That's the difference. Yep, 100%. 50 million a year guys that could, Cat was soft in the playoffs. That's the thing. So yeah, it's a risk. Now every move's coming with some kind of risk. Embiid has knee trouble. Those kind of things. Which is I'm all for getting guys for salary cap. If it means waiting 2 years for Donovan Mitchell to just come into our salary cap situation, you're not giving picks up. That kind of thing. trading all your picks and young players should be the final move you make to put you over the top, like your final all-in move. But you should already have your 2 other stars ready to go before you make that all-in move, like you would for Embiid. I think with the knee troubles, because knowing our luck, Embiid's going to come in here. We traded everybody, and he tears his meniscus, in the second round, and he's a goner. Which is why, kind of questions over Philly, So we have a deal now with Shams reporting Rui Hachimura is returning to the Lakers, 3 years, 51 mil. So, yeah, solid number, solid deal. So the trade LA made at the deadline with Washington, now they get to keep that piece as well. What does that mean for D'Lo? And what does that mean for Austin Reeves? Good fit for the Lakers. He could play the 3 and the 4. He could help LeBron. But yeah, you guys get it in terms of what's the all-in move. Right now it's Brunson, it's Randall. We really need the lead guy or a 1B. 1A, 1B. I really think we could get by with 2 1Bs. If it's Brunson and it's another 1B, ideally a 1A and Brunson be the 1B. That kind of thing. But yeah, it's interesting, man. The Knicks obviously no draft picks in the last 2 years. We heard the rant Mark Berman went on our show as well. It went viral, and I understand what he's talking about in terms of the Knicks' 51-year title drought, salary cap issues coming up soon. The Knicks need to decide, who's their guy. The Knicks need to make a move. But it just doesn't need to be free agency. I think it could be in the deadline. But a move has to come in the next 12 months because Leon Rose is basically just sitting here, kicking the can as well. Yeah, I think, but I got to give it up to Leon in terms of just avoiding his temptation because that's something other executives with the Knicks haven't been able to do. They felt the pressure. Also, Clutch Sports going to clutch. Free agent Cam Reddish has agreed to a 2-year deal with the Lakers now. So that's where he's always wanted to be with Clutch, Rich Paul, LeBron, right? Clutch going to stay out in LA. I think that means Malik Beasley's gone. Surely Malik Beasley's gone now. So you got Reddish, you got Gabe Vincent, you got Hachimura coming back. No word on Austin Reeves or D'Lo. But yeah, 51 mil for 3 years is pretty good for Hachimura. Let's not forget he was in the RJ draft class. Yeah, let's see how many minutes Cam Reddish can get out in there. Chauncey Billups couldn't help his stock. You're happy for him. Let's see what he can do. See if he can help the Lakers in the playoffs. Play some minutes at the wing. But yeah, I think Hachimura is a big piece. Darren says, I would not be surprised now if Austin or Beasley, yep, Dante DiVincenzo are on the Knicks radar, yep. Yeah, Austin Reeves is going to be a big one. Maybe there's some issues agreeing to something. But yeah, I would have thought that would be the first move that they get done. Instead, they commit 33 mil to Gabe Vincent. Obviously, they needed the point guard. So if I had to guess right now, I think D'Lo Russell is not coming back. Right? Why would they commit 33 mil to Vincent if D'Lo Russell's going to come back on 20 mil? Obviously, yeah, in a few years, 50 mil will be the new 30 mil. So that has to be considered. But whether the player is healthy, are they contributing? Are they a winning player? All of those things. Like Karl Anthony Towns has had a lot of years in the league, 8 years in the league, and hasn't been able to do much without Jimmy Butler as well. Is he really the guy? Uh, you got to give some credit. Like Randall on one ankle and Jalen Brunson has been able to get the Knicks to the second round of the playoffs and to the playoffs twice. Now, Karl Anthony Towns is earning double their salary, and with Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert couldn't elevate. Um, so if I had to guess, I think Randall's going to stay. I think Brunson's here. I think that the plan is to get the third guy that complements them. Um, so we got Reddish to the Lakers. Now the next move, Woj, is uh, guys with connections to New York. Julian Champagnie is finalizing a deal with the Spurs. Salute to Julian Champagnie. That's a good rebuilding situation for him. He might get some burn. So yeah, Cam Reddish with his family now, with the Clutch fam. Now, big Woj bomb has finally dropped. Now, relating to Fred Van Vliet. Now, huge deal. Has agreed on a big 3-year, 100 and whopping 30 milli to the Houston Rockets. Ladies and gentlemen, that's whopping. So, what does that mean for the Raps? That's huge. Fred Van Vliet is not worth that kind of money to me. But hey, when you're the Houston Rockets, you can do it. What do you guys think now? What does this mean? Yep. Freddie Van Vliet has been average the last few years, but still a solid starter. But 130 milli over 3 years is absolutely insane. That's absolutely insane. Obviously, Houston, salute to them, though. They get a solid starting point guard now, a veteran, a champion who can do some things, get their locker room maybe right also. But that's insane. What's that? What is that per? That's more than 40 mil. That's like 43 mil per. That was probably what was needed to pry him out of Toronto, to be honest. Yep. Yep. iGame is on the money. Yep. Yep. That's a sign of things to come, but it's kind of what you got to do with restricted free agency in a way. You got to overpay. So I'm glad because this shakes things up with Messiah. It shakes things up with Toronto. Now they're going to need a point guard. They're still trying to be competitive, I think. Clutch Sports again, big deal. Do they have money to sign Brook Lopez now? Are they trying to win now? The Toronto Raps, the Houston Rockets. Sorry. Now they're trying to do something. 29 years old though, still got some mileage left. Yeah. The new CBA will make it more hard to trade to acquire these players. Yep. Yeah, the last of these teams with big cap space. Once these contracts get doled out, this is the start of it as well. 43 mil per. Now, maybe we'll find out the third year is a team option. That'll be interesting. Okay, if the third year is a team option, the Houston Rockets will have 2 years to see what it looks like, and he'll only be 31 after that. Maybe they can lure James Harden back there as well. Maybe they can pull off that trade as well. Imagine if the Houston Rockets pulled off that big trade and got James Harden. next to Fred VanVleet, Brook Lopez. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So that's huge. We continue to refresh, but yeah, Cam's a Laker. I always knew Fred was going to get paid, but that was, yeah, I thought 30 mil maybe per. But that's crazy. Yep. So yeah, the Lakers have locked up Gabe Vincent, Reddish, Hashimura, Taurean Prince in less than the first 2 hours of free agency. All that remains now is Austin Reeves and D'Lo. So the Lakers are having themselves a hell of an off-season so far in terms of snagging Vincent, taking a flyer on Reddish, locking up Hashimura, and getting a wing like Taurean Prince as well. I would assume D'Lo walks, but maybe they get Austin Reeves. Yeah, Kevin Love returning to the Heat. That's going to be big. Yeah, the speculation now, people saying I have no idea what the path for Toronto is at this point. Yeah, yeah. As Van Vliet lands the first max contract of the summer, says Woj. Yep, no lies there, man. I haven't seen the K Love news yet, but that's just madness. We keep refreshing. But yeah, big movement there. New team, new division, new conference. Salute. Jalen Brunson contract gets better by the day. Steve Popper says. Yeah. But like iGamer says, let this be a preview of what Jalen Brunson's going to be on in 2 years. He's going to be on 50 mil plus. But I think by then the Knicks will have all of their roster intact, I think, and we'll just be going over the cap to extend Brunson, I feel. But yeah, the good thing is, Brunson's only 27, 26, 27, so he'll only be Fred VanVleet's age when he gets that big deal. Yep. Yeah, it seems like an overpaid dad pool for now, but the cap's changing as well. But I think teams are just desperate to not lose leverage, not lose players they have. You know, you sometimes you got to take a risk and let a player walk if you got better plans. I feel. Um, Unfortunately for Heat, they were probably one of the biggest losers, losing Strauss and Vincent, two of their starters in the playoffs. But um, you obviously have to factor in Tyler Hero probably comes back and he's no longer their sixth man. Tyler Hero is probably a starter now, and Duncan Robinson maybe the Heat's sixth man. Yep. But yeah, Fred VanVleet securing the bag. I'm glad because I'm sick of Toronto, quite frankly, at this point. Like, something needed to be done. He was frustrated with them. You could feel that. What are they going to do with OG now? Um, yep. So they chose Fred VanVleet over Harden, it appears. But he's a better fit, I think, next to Jalen Green. Well, you want to be able to give Jalen Green some reps, James Harden's gonna take over. Be interesting. Are the Rockets trying to go in too soon as well? Like, shouldn't they just let it simmer for a little bit more in terms of that? But they're trying to make a statement. I get it. You got to spend the money too. You got to spend certain level. Brook Lopez probably next. I feel like if they can offer 2 years, 20 mil per for Lopez, that's a wrap. Yep, that's the big question, fam. Buzzer says, what's Toronto going to do next with Van Vliet out the door? They're going to pivot. They've got to get a cheaper point guard. Do they take an Emmanuel quickly now in an OG Anunoby deal? I'm just spitballing right now, but they could do a lot worse if they need that point guard. They could get a cheaper deal on Emmanuel quickly. Instead of 43 mil for Van Vliet, 20 mil for Quickly for the next 4 years. I just don't know what other point guard solutions are out there. The funny thing is, Kyrie is already committed. Maybe they could have pivoted and tried to get Kyrie now with some money, but there's really not too many point guards available. Does that open a spot for Damian Lillard? Do they trade a lot of issues and things to Portland for Lillard? But I don't see him wanting to go to Toronto. Yep. Here's the thing for you. Maybe D'Lo Russell is their consolation. As more people are saying, we won't be laughing at the Fred VanVleet deal when Brunson is due. He'll be 29 as well, 28, 29. The issue is, Brunson's more like an all-star. Fred VanVleet's past it. Yep. Deuce and IQ for OG. That could be interesting. Yeah, they need to pivot now. They need a point guard. If we could get OG and still keep RJ, that'd be a crazy deal. But they're probably going to ask for IQ and Grimes. Yep. We move. We keep going. Champagne deal is 4 years, 12 for San Antonio. So that's a cheap prove it deal as well. Final year team option for Champagne and the Spurs with Woj. As we almost hit 9 o'clock Eastern time. Yep. Billy saying, I believe in our front office. Staying patient. Spent some money wisely. The issue is we're just right in the middle now. We need consolidation. We need to take a next leap. Where's that going to come? You guys believe in the OG Anunoby CAA connection? I mean, man, what a story. He left Clutch 2 days ago. Bang, within 24 hours, he signs with CAA. Also, having said that, though, people may not understand this, but I think Masai Ujiri, I think, is CAA also, or has had strong CAA connections going back to when James Dolan was doing work with Masai Ujiri as well. So it may not necessarily mean it's headed straight to the Knicks with OG signing with CAA. But yeah, definitely Masai Ujiri is kind of backed into a corner now because the Toronto Raptors weren't a factor this year and they've just got worse. Well, they spent $20 million to keep Jakob Poeltl, and they've just lost their point guard. Yeah, we continue to hear about Brunson's contract or whatever. We don't need to worry about that right now. We're not worried about Brunson's contract yet. We've got some time, so let's keep it moving. Cam says, I hope the Knicks keep RJ. Do not trade him. I think it makes a lot of sense where we're at right now is to bring DiVincenzo and this roster into the season, right? You afford yourself some time to see what Grimes and RJ look like with another year. Then you can evaluate a little bit more with Emmanuel quickly. He might come back souped up. A lot of questions can be answered if you just wait a little bit and run to the season. I don't want us to stay pat for the whole season, but if we run it into half a season and we get to see what, Barrett with Randall and Brunson and Hart look like again, and then you can evaluate. Maybe a team gets an injury to their point guard, and they desperately want Emmanuel quickly. Maybe you just never know. More things can happen. But having said that, I think one of the best scenarios could be if Harden goes to the Clippers and the Knicks get Paul George for a decent deal. A 2-year deal with no extension. We just see what happens. But it's interesting what the East is doing. The Cleveland Cavs got a little bit better. The Heat got worse so far. Got Josh Richardson and losing Strauss and Vincent. Yeah, 20 mil per for Jakob Poeltl is crazy, right? Considering Mitch is on 15, 14, and 12 over the next 3. Yeah. Gerard says DiVincenzo won't be a Knick unless IQ is traded. I think they're working on some kind of trade talk, but I think the DiVincenzo thing will happen in the next 24 hours. Could be tonight, or it could be tomorrow. I think we're just trying to see what's out there first before spending that mid-level. Yeah, I also think DiVincenzo's probably sincerely considering these other teams, but is favoring the Knicks. Keith Smith of NBA says the Rockets should have about 24 mil now in cap space after the Fred VanVleet thing. So that's eye-opening still. So the Rockets still could sign D'Lo. They could sign. They could give that to Brook Lopez for 20 mil per. So yeah, I don't know what that does for the Rockets. So Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Sengun, and Brook Lopez. Does that do anything? This is a question, yeah, you've got to ask yourself in the terms of the front office. If they are doing a Paul George deal, does he put us over the top? Like, I wouldn't definitively say over the top, but does he put the Knicks in a chance to make the Eastern Conference Finals? Definitely. Make the NBA Finals, definitely, if he's healthy. It depends. Does the front office feel, is that worth going in for, depending on what the price is? Does a player like Paul George become available very often? If it costs you quickly, and picks and for salary filler, all of that. If it costs you RJ picks and all of that, it's going to be different as well. Now, I don't think they're going to pay the extension, but if it's a 2-year rental, that could be something they're interested in. And then Donovan Mitchell comes in, after that. I do think Tom Thibodeau would be a fan of winning now. I do think he would be a fan of Paul George. I think Julius Randle would be a fan of having Paul George. Did the Clippers willing to part with him now for Harden and see what else they can get? Would be interesting. They're looking like they're putting Zubac on the block as well. Yeah, we got Dylan Brooks too, who's a candidate to go to the Rockets also. Maybe they spend the rest on Dylan Brooks and Brook Lopez. Yeah, every year there's a big overpay. We're just seeing it now. Fred VanVleet once again. sick of Toronto kind of staying pat. I think honestly, I know money talks, but I think Fred VanVleet kind of knows what's happening with Toronto. Like Masai Ujiri's just sitting there saying, "I got this team that's not even a playoff team, and yet I'm wanting multiple first round picks for everybody." Right? Make it make sense. At the end of the day, I think your record should dictate where you're going. Right? If you're not a significant playoff player, then you need to be looking to sell parts and blow it up or retool. But the Raptors are being foolish. Salute D Cool, buzzer salute, Clippers blowing it up. No, they're going to retool. They're definitely not blowing it up. I don't know the contract on Kawhi, but I would suspect out of Kawhi and PG that they'll trade one of them to get some young value, and they'll keep one of them and let their contract run out. I think that's the way it's going to go. I don't think they're sold now. What we're hearing is the pairing of Kawhi and PG together. I don't think they're sold on those two together anymore. Two wings, both plus 35, plus 33 years old, injury prone. I think they need to capitalize on one of them to get some value in, I think, and see what they do. Retool. So, yeah. Yeah, the Knicks clearly need more shooting, and I still don't get the cat is soft narrative. If it's because of a big man shooting a lot, all I say is it ain't in the 90s. I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's cat looking more soft in Minnesota, but I do think fans are just frustrated with former Knick players, former Knick players that sat on the sidelines, a bit of that PSD, that PST. Yeah, it looks like they're going to get Russ back in Cliptown as well. I think they'll probably agree to get him back as well. Yeah, here's a stat for you. The Raptors got nothing for Kawhi, Gasol, Ibaka, Danny Green, or Fred VanVleet. They turned Kyle Lowry into Precious Achiuwa. Some of those losses are more excusable than others, but man, the Raptors have got to keep a more open mind at the deadline, says Sam Quinn of CBS. If that was a panelist, I'd say that again. They lost Kawhi, Gasol, Ibaka, Danny Green, and Fred VanVleet for nothing. Yeah, I agree. That's been difficult to deal with. Notoriously, also the Chicago Bulls, not even doing anything, paying money to Vucevic again. You got an aging DeRozan and an aging Levine, or an injury-prone Levine, as well. Still asking for a king's ransom as well. Finally, Washington woke up and did what they needed to do. You got to blow it up. Even though they didn't get anything for Bradley Beal, they chose a direction. That's the first thing. That's the first step. You got to pick the right direction, and you got to go accordingly to that plan. The Knicks' direction is they're going to try to win now. They're trying to go all in. They're just waiting for that next piece. But the time's going to come where James Dolan is going to have to spend the tax. Jalen Brunson now is coming up soon. Emmanuel Quickley. Quentin Grimes will be extension eligible next summer as well. Yeah, you wait too long and you lose assets for nothing if you don't decide what to do. So let's see. But yeah, the Dallas Mavericks invested in Kyrie. How do you guys think that's going to play out? I'm kind of excited to see what Luka and Kyrie can do together for a full season, but based on what I saw, I don't think it's going to be anything special in the West. It's very difficult um, based on the talent. Yeah, that's going to be very, very interesting. Yeah, the CAA connections are big. I think the Knicks would love to get Paul George. I do think Leon Rose does think highly of Karl Anthony Towns. It's just we're kind of waiting on what Minnesota wants to do. I think they want a quick look at Rudy Gobert and Cat again with Ant Edwards just to see, because they did make that big investment in Rudy Gobert as well. So that's going to be huge to see. But I don't think that's going to be a long-lived um, tandem. I think they're definitely going to have to try to do something and sell low. Like, what did you guys think of the John Collins move? That was crazy. A guy on a max salary. All they did was trade him for a salary cap and spare parts, second round picks. But yeah, shout out to Fred VanVleet getting that kind of payday. 29 years old. The Lakers have been the big winners for me so far. The Heat, the big losers. I think the Cavs have also done okay. Honorable mention from the Cavs, keeping Levert, getting Georges Niang, and of course getting the other dude who escapes me. But yeah, Bruce Brown also the big winner with Indiana. Another overpay. I think Embiid's more likely, man. I don't think Dame's very likely, but Embiid could be 1 year away, 2 years away um, from wanting out of Philly. But let's see, maybe Daryl Morey does oversees the process all over again with Philly. Considering they got barely anything out of Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Fultz, what's his name? The other big man center, Okafor, Joel Embiid. I mean, it's just been crazy with Philadelphia. Really, think about it. They flamed out with Okafor, flamed out with Markelle Fultz, flamed out with Ben Simmons. Joel Embiid's the only remnants of the process. How many first round picks do they want to blow? There's another high pick they had, which was very high. Forget his name again. It's that wing, that shooting wing as well. I think he was a top 10 pick as well. So yeah, that you draft bad, it costs you big time. Think about if the Knicks took Mikal Bridges or Miles Bridges, one of those two, instead of Kevin Knox. All our prayers would be answered, and we'd have that wing. So yeah, this could be the first big lull of day one. Let's see. Maybe we get another bomb coming up later into the night, but we'll get ready to wrap this thing up for day one. Been streaming 3.5 hours now. But again, same time tomorrow. We'll be back on day two. I think there's going to be some news coming up. We might hear about the Austin Reeves with the Lakers, D'Lo, DiVincenzo. Yeah, appreciate everyone rocking out. Streets is buzzing, smashing that like button as well. Been a crazy day one as we expected, but yeah, I don't think the Knicks have really lost any ground in the East. The Heat got worse. Philly look like they might be getting worse, and the Knicks wait for their next move as well. Let's go. Appreciate you all. Your thoughts and questions, frustrations, excitement, anything. Right now, yeah, the Knicks are in a unique spot. Like I said, we've got our full rotation technically. So it's got to be subtraction for an addition. Basically, to get someone in, we're going to be sending someone out to make an upgrade. Right now, roster spots are scarce. Salary cap, we're almost at the tax. Well, so I don't think we're going to go over unless it's a superstar right now. But I think Leon Rose is definitely making discussions and calls. So let's see what happens, man. Let's get busy and talk about it on day 2. Salute, peace, good night.